It's time for Ask the Tech Guys. Leo Laporte here. Coming up, I'm going to find out if you can game on a Chromebook. ASUS says you can. I've got a review.
And I'm Micah Sargent, and I talk about security for renters.
Plus, a big change to our favorite password manager. Then Chris from Miami calls in on 4 cups of coffee and falls flat on his face. It's all next on Ask the Tech Guys.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Ask the Tech Guys with Micah Sargent and Leo Laporte, episode 1963 for Sunday, February 26th, 2023. Always on top. Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by CacheFly. CacheFly is the only CDN built for throughput, delivering rich media content up to 10 times faster than traditional delivery methods and 30% faster than other major CDNs. Learn how you can get your first month free at cachefly.com. Thanks for listening to this show as an ad-supported network. We are always looking for new partners with products and services that will benefit our qualified audience. Are you ready to grow your business? Reach out to advertise@twit.tv and launch your campaign now. Well, hey. How are you today? It's time for Ask the Tech Guys. I'm Leo Laporte.
And I'm Micah Sargent.
Coming up today, we're going to have a visit from our spaceman, Rod Pyle.
Oh, ground control to Major Pyle.
Jason Howell will join us to talk about how people are using ChatGPT in some interesting ways.
Money? Making money?
Money. And, of course, we're going to answer your calls. We've got some video questions. I am going to demonstrate a new Acer Chromebook designed for gaming. Father Robert talked about it after CES on Twit, but they sent one to us, so I've been playing with it a little bit.
I didn't know those two words could go together.
Chromebook gaming
and Chromebook. That's interesting.
Kind of does. I'll play the hot new game. What's it called? Servants of the Forest or something? It's a survival game, and
I know you're going to say.
What is it called?
Pac-Man.
Sons of the Forest. Oh yeah, because the Forest was an old game, and then they came out with a sequel called Sons. Have you played it yet?
I want to, but no.
When is Daughters of the Revolution coming out? Later.
That's my aunt. That's my Aunt Ginny. Then what else? Oh, I'm going to show you the latest, greatest security feature our sponsor BitWarden has added. And how we should do it, and what cautions you should consider before you do it. They've moved away from PBKDF2 to Argon2. Ooh,
that one's easier to pronounce, at least.
It's a lot easier. Oh, that was a lot of letters. In the news, you talked to Mark Gurman on Thursday.
Yeah. So Mark Gurman had a story over on Bloomberg talking about Apple finally getting to a place where now we could see a future in which Apple Watch is able to track blood glucose.
Huge.
This is very big because, frankly, up to this point, it was moonshot for every company, meaning that it was one of these things that, it'd be cool if we could do this, but there were no proofs of concept. There were no Google had what they claimed was a proof of concept with a contact you'd put in your eye that would then use your tears to determine blood glucose. But they ended up shelving that project.
Yeah, they shelved it. I don't know if it didn't work or they just got tired of spending money.
Well, and
which is very Google.
May very well be. Yes, exactly. They do that a lot.
They're sharing desks now at Google.
Are they really?
Yeah, if you had a desk and you went home, I could use your desk, and then when you'd come back and you'd want it back.
I used to work at a job where it was like that.
How broke do you have to be to do that, Google?
Pretty broke.
That sounds like Elon Musk's Twitter.
But
so there are 40 million, almost 40 million diabetics in the U.S.
Yes.
11% of the population. All of them. I mean, I do finger pricks. I've worn the glucose meter, but all of them would love it if they could have continuous glucose monitoring in your watch.
In a way that you don't, because even those ones you wear on your wrist,
Non-invasive.
the arm, you have to replace them too.
Every
after
2
a while.
weeks. And they send they're not non-invasive. They
Right.
do send a little filament into your skin. It doesn't hurt, but it's still there. And it's a little weird. It would be amazing. It would also be probably save lives.
Yes. And but that's the thing that makes this so difficult because as we've gotten up to this point, think about the technologies that are in the Apple Watch now. We've got heart rate, we've got ECG, electrocardiogram, we've got blood oxygen, and all of these are little data points that Apple can share with us that we then use to kind of go from there. But when you think about blood glucose, this is something that could literally be life or death. If this is misreading my blood glucose levels and I need to make adjustments quickly and I'm not in a place where I can do that, that could be life or death. And so I think that this is one that if they're going to do it, they've got to get it exactly right, because with the ECG, with these other technologies, it's more been, oh, I was alerted to something that I wasn't aware of. I went to the doctor and my life was saved. It doesn't work the same way with blood glucose.
No. It's interesting. They've got it's part of the Apple Exploratory Design Group, which is basically an R&D group, right? And
one of like 4 that they've got at the company.
It's like a moonshot. And they think they've got some sort of laser ability. All of this stuff, even today, the Apple Watch shoots light into your wrist. That's why it doesn't work well with people with a lot of wrist hair or tattoos. It shoots light into your wrist and then measures
how it's absorbed and how
various
it's refracted.
Features of your blood, and they think they can do it with blood glucose, now, by the way, this has been going on for years. We'll see, but I hope it's true.
And that's because there is a breakthrough here. First, there's a special chip that they've partially acquired and partially have been working on, and instead of looking at the blood itself, they have figured out that if they look at what's called interstitial fluid, which I know no one likes that word fluid, but interstitial fluid is this substance that is good for looking at for blood glucose. And when they shine those lasers, they shine those lights, and the way that the light refracts is what they can actually measure. They pop that into an algorithm, and then from there can determine blood glucose levels. What's also fascinating about this is it's like levels of secrecy, with the top secret group being the one working on AR and VR. Then you've got the one that's working on the car, and then deep down underground is this group that's working on blood glucose. What they've done is they actually had a company nearby that doesn't outwardly have any ties to Apple, so that when they bring people in to have these tests done, the people know that they're taking part in these tests, but it's with this third-party group. They don't know they're going to Apple and having these tests done. And so that's just to maintain that secrecy as they've been working on this. So definitely you should check out my interview with Mark Gurman over on Tech News Weekly. Also read his piece, because it goes into more depth about kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff with this.
It's actually spectroscopy, which is kind of interesting. We use spectroscopy to see what elements there are in asteroids. We now know there's some interesting elements in that asteroid up there. What's it called? Ragnarok, whatever. Probably not Ragnarok. That or in the stars, and we can do it in your blood too.
And when I was younger, I got to go into a lab with a scientist, and he showed me all these different machines, and one of them was light spectroscopy machine. I took some saliva, put it in, you spin it around and break it into its component parts, and then using all these different materials to see what made up. And I remember even back then going, wouldn't it be so cool if you could just do this with something that would tell us? I think about nutrition, for example. I'm taking in foods throughout the day. If I had something that
You'd know immediately.
Yeah. What is actually going, the vitamins that I'm getting from it, all that kind of stuff. I just think it's brilliant.
It's true. I guess they could go beyond glucose with this chip. So that would be very interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Supreme Court, there giveth and taketh away. There's good news and there's bad news. And the bad news, the Supreme Court decided not to take the Wikipedia case suing the NSA for its global data collection. This case has been going on since 2015. Wikimedia Foundation, which is the parent company of Wikipedia, sued, challenging the legality of their so-called upstream. We finally figured out, thanks to Edward Snowden and other revelations, that the NSA wasn't like getting into your Google account. They were just sitting out there on the cloud and the internet, watching stuff come and go out of your Google account, that upstream collection. That's all they needed, and they were doing it quite aggressively. But the lower court had ruled that this was protected by the, whatever they call it, the U.S. Secrets Act. It would violate national security if this lawsuit were to go forward. The Supreme Court agreed. So I guess all that is an acknowledgement that you're getting spied on all the time. Just so you know, right? And it's warrantless, and it has nothing to do with suspicion. It's just we're going to collect everything we can, and then we got it. And if we need it, we've got it. The other good news from the Supreme Court, maybe good news, I don't know. They heard two very important cases for the internet this week. The most important was on Tuesday, Gonzales versus Google. The lawsuit says that Google's responsible for its algorithmic recommendations, and in this case, they say it radicalized militants and caused the death of, sadly, their daughter in a Paris incident in 2015. But the real issue is Section 230, which protects us, protects our chat room, protects comments you make in our Discord, protects comments you're even making right now on our Zoom. We can't get sued for those, only the person who posts them. That makes sense. The person who created the whatever it is should be sued for it. We also can't get sued for taking it down, and that's really important. Moderation is also protected by Section 230. So this isn't going against the heart of Section 230, but they said what we want to do is slice off this idea of algorithmic recommendations and say that is, once you're doing that, you're going beyond Section 230. You're actually publishing content on your own. They even debated whether a thumbnail of a video on YouTube is created by the content creator or Google. It's the hint, it's the content creator. But they seem confused by that, as did, by the way, Google's attorney and Gonzales' attorney. It was a very interesting argument, though, and we had Kathy Gellis, who is an attorney, she was actually in the Supreme Court, in the courtroom on Tuesday for those oral arguments. We had her on This Week in Google on Wednesday.
Wow.
She had a lot of thoughts. Generally, it looks like the justices, wow, surprising, understand the consequences of chiseling away in any form or fashion at Section 230. Judge Kavanaugh said that's really Congress's job, not ours. Justice Kagan was hysterical. She said, you don't have the 9 greatest experts on the internet here, admitting that, in fact, many of them admitted, we don't really understand this, but we gather any changes to this could be horrific for the internet, which is right.
I'm glad.
Which is true. Kathy Gellis herself wrote an amicus brief for TechDirt, one of many, a flood of amicus briefs that the Supreme Court got to see, saying that, including the EFF and others. So I think, you can't always judge what the Supreme Court is going to do from oral arguments, but I think it went pretty well. They showed that they realized that anything they would do would have great consequence, maybe unintended consequence. And I think I hope we'll find out maybe in June. I hope they will leave this to Congress, and that Congress will not do anything. Because that's their specialty, ladies and gentlemen.
Very good at doing nothing. That's us.
All right, let's. Do you want to see what BitWarden is up to?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I want to warn people that you shouldn't do this until you're completely updated on BitWarden. And you can see here, I am getting the offer. Restart to update. Version 2023.2.0 is ready to install. This is on the desktop application. BitWarden, I should mention, a sponsor. They're a password manager. And the only reason I bring this up is because a lot of you have moved to BitWarden after LastPass's fiasco. And there's a lot of interest, we talked a lot about it, in what they call the password hashing. So your master password, of course, is what gets into the vault. LastPass, BitWarden, none of the companies that do password management have access to your master password, but they have to have some way of validating it to unlock the vault, right? They have to, you type something in, they have to somehow validate that that's real. So what they do is they take your password and they hash it. They modify it. They hash it and they salt it. They mess it up in a one-way process, in such a way that they can verify that that is your correct password, but nobody having the hash can unlock your vault. Does that make sense? The hashing algorithm they've been using, and almost everybody uses, is called PBKDF2. 7 words. PBKDF2. And one of the problems LastPass had is they had set the iteration level for PBKDF2, the number of times it was hashed, to a very low number. Initially 1, then 500. OWASP, the security recommendation for the web folks, said it should be much higher. You should have at least 300,000 iterations. LastPass and BitWarden allow you to go up to 2 million. The downside, of course, is it slows your machine down because it has to go through those hashing processes to unlock your vault. It says, oh, here's the key typed. Let's run it through 2 million times. Now we know it's okay. But on modern machines, that's a second or two. It's not untenable. Nevertheless, PBKDF2 is attackable. It can be brute forced, especially by these new modern attacks based on graphics cards, GPUs. So there's another way of doing it called Argon2, and this is one of the benefits BitWarden has by being open source. Argon2, Quexton, who has been corresponding with Steve, among others, has taken it on himself to urge BitWarden to write the code and then urge BitWarden with what they call a pull request to add it to their open source. They've agreed.
Wow.
And so it's now available to you, but here's the catch. It's only available to you on 2023.2. Fine. You won't be able to change it to Argon 2 unless you have that, but it will break anything that is not updated to 2023.2. That means your browser, plugins, your older Android devices. So you really, before you do this, you want to look for this note that I got from BitWarden to update. Make sure you're on 2023.2, and you want to do it everywhere. Okay, that's the most important thing. But once you've done that, once you've verified, you can go into your BitWarden vault and see. Once you've verified that, I'm going to enter my master password. No looking.
Oh.
No looking.
It's PBK. DF2.
Don't say that.
Salt, Hank,
Stop.
sandwiches.
Okay, now I'm in. Oh, I got to enter it one more time. I'm going to show you how you can change this algorithm one more time. And that's good, right? You want them to make you enter this password a bunch of times.
Absolutely.
So no bad guy can do this. Oops. It's such a long password. I made it a very long password. By the way, if you have a very long, strong password, that's more important even than the hashing. So make sure you do that, because even with a low iteration count on PBKDF2, if you have a good password, it's still going to take a bad guy an untenable amount of time to crack it. This is even better. So now you can go look at my page again. This is the KDF, the key derivative algorithm. They even have a little, what the heck's that? You can go over here and you can read all about it if you want. It's a Wikipedia article. No, the default, which for most password managers has always been PBKDF2, is now expanded to include Argon 2. There is one password manager, I should give them credit, Dashlane, that supports Argon 2. Once you go to Argon 2, you're going to see some suggested parameters, and this has confused a lot of people. Iterations, memory, parallelism. So I'm going to point you to a very good, let me click this, a very good, Reddit thread from 12 days ago, started by Podrick, talking about this. And Quexton, by the way, chimes in and explains what's going on. And the question was, well, what should I set these parameters to? I'll give you the shortcut, okay? Just let them stay the way they are. It doesn't really matter at this point. Down the road, you might be able to turn them up. And just like PBKDF2, higher numbers mean slower hashing. So, but this speed these numbers should be acceptable for everybody. Once you change it, though, and again, don't do this until you've verified that every version of BitWarden you're using on all your stuff has been updated to 2023.2 or later.
Okay, because you won't be able to get in otherwise?
Yeah, that whatever device is using the older version will say, I don't know what Argon is. What do you talk about, Willis? So this is in you have to do this on the web version of BitWarden. You'll see it's in your account settings under security, and it's the third tab in keys, encryption key settings, Argon 2. I would say, if you've already updated your PBKDF2, I'd set mine at 2 million, the maximum. There's no rush to do this, but I wanted to show people and let people know.
When does that slowdown that you're talking about happen? Like, when should people be on the lookout for that? Is it every time I go to type in my password? Yeah.
It's just the first time you open BitWarden on your device. So you have to open the vault to use it. And sometimes it closes the vault if you haven't used it in a while. Those settings are up to you.
Yeah.
Every time you reopen the vault, it has to take your password. Every time you'd enter your password, in other words, you enter your password. It takes your password, goes through those hashes, says thumbs up, downloads the vault, and now you have it. And that could take several seconds. Mm-hmm. You've probably noticed that when you do it in your browser and you log in for the first time to your password manager. That's what's going on. That chief delay, there's two parts of the delay. The chief delay is the hashing. The second part is it has to download the entire vault. And that, so in other words, it keeps the vault as an encrypted blob up there. They don't have the password. Only you have the password. Once you've entered the password on a client in BitWarden or any password manager, it verifies it using these password derivative functions. Goes, yeah, that's right. And it says, now, bring down the vault. It might be doing that simultaneously. Bring down the vault and unencrypt it. So good advice. Good to pay attention. Steve Gibson talked about it on Tuesday. I was very pleased to see that it had actually happened. Quexton, thank you. That's the kind of open source contribution that makes a difference in a lot of lives. It's kind of like a blood glucose monitor on your watch. It can save a lot of people. So we want to put the word out. Now the most important segment on the show every week. What is Aunt having for lunch today? Looks pretty good. Is that fried chicken?
No, sir.
It's just pizza, isn't it?
Chicago deep dish.
Old Chicago, baby. And I noticed you took the mug that says, I, world's best boss. So that's good.
Am I not?
Yes, you is.
Is you is or is you ain't the best boss.
I thought it was mine, but truthfully, it really is yours. So we had a lot of people been waiting on hold. We should tell you call.twit.tv. On your phone is easiest because you already, you open your browser, you enter in the browser call.twit.tv. If you have Zoom, it'll launch it. If you don't, you can actually use the web version. We know your microphone and camera work on your phone, right? Mostly. And so that's probably the easiest way to call. But I notice people mostly still use desktops to call us. You can also send us email, askthetechguys@twit.tv. And you can, if even better, you can send us a video via email. That'd be really awesome. There was one thing I did want to mention before we get to the call. So let's cue up the calls. Raise your hand if you've got a question. I was in our forum, and somebody, BGOZ, BG Oz, I'm guessing.
Big Oz,
had some help for Mark from last week. Remember Mark, who's an Australian, was coming to the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
And wanted to know about what to do for a U.S. SIM. So BG Oz, in response to Mark's query about mobile usage while visiting the U.S., just completed 8 weeks. Aussies do that. They come for a long time. With the best mobile access in the last 10 years of travel. He is using Telstra at home. Overseas coverage would be very expensive. So he said this time after hearing Rich DeMuro's experience, which I haven't heard, but apparently he used Mint. Installed the Mint app while at home, downloaded and installed the Mint eSIM. Mint's our sponsor also, right? This enabled Wi-Fi calling on Mint under settings, then allowed me to subscribe to the 3-month plan. This is actually, I think, what we talked about with Mark, right? 3-month plan. Activate the plan while in Australia. He could still use the number on Wi-Fi, even though Mint works only in the U.S., so he's now got an Australian and a U.S. number.
Nice.
He's got 2 SIMs. He says he can put up to 8 SIMs on an iPhone, which is 8 eSIMs on an iPhone. So in the U.S., the Telstra number still worked. He could access all those 6-digit sign-on codes, right?
Good.
The 2-factor codes. No costs, no extra to access the Telstra number overseas, as long as you're doing it on Wi-Fi, right? That's the Wi-Fi.
So Wi-Fi
you're at
calling.
the hotel, you're using that. He says, just be careful because if you leave the Mint Mobile SIM active in Australia, because there's no signal to pick up, it's going to kill your battery as it searches and searches.
Got it.
So thank you, BG Oz. Thank you for that update. That's a good place to go. So he was saying we should have some way of signaling when we have an update from one of our questions. Go to the Twit forums, twit.community. Leave it there for me. This is a great place. I check it every day, so it's a great place to leave those thoughts or comments. Twit.community. It's free. I do have to approve all signups, but I did that pretty quickly.
Yep.
Just like our Mastodon instance. You could leave it on Mastodon. I don't think that's as good an idea, only because Like Twitter, Mastodon scrolls and scrolls. It's maybe not like Twitter. Twitter just fired on yesterday, 50 more engineers. They've stopped paying their Slack bill, which means there's no way of communicating.
And their issue tracker, Jira.
Stop paying for that. It's
a mess. Yeah.
Twit.social is our Mastodon, and it's actually, I think, is good, if not better than Twitter. It's a nicer place. The local timeline is all of our regular listeners, and I only approve your membership on our Twit.social if you can demonstrate that you listen to our shows. So just say Micah sent me.
There you go.
You can even spell it with a C if you want.
Yeah.
But at least I'll know, you're not some normal person off the street. All right, I want to take some calls. Let's see.
Let's do it.
Ivan has his hand raised high. He's going, oh, Mr. Kata, Mr. Kata.
Mr. Kata.
Mr. Kata. You know that? You know that reference?
I only know it because of The Office.
Oh, okay.
They reference it in The Office.
It's funny. I know a lot of references from the 40s because of Mad Magazine. So, you get this derivative. Hey, Ivan, welcome to Ask the Tech Guys.
Hello, Micah. Thanks for taking my call.
Our pleasure. Welcome.
I wanted to tell you one thing before I get into my question.
Yes.
Is I'm retiring something that I've used often with you, and that is the moniker of Dev Null.
Oh.
That was radio. I'm not going to use it anymore.
Well, it's not. It's okay to do that because I don't own it. Dev Null was the character that I played on MSNBC's The Site, and it was a virtual character. And this is in 1995, so this is like the first time anybody in real time did a virtual character. Soledad would sit there and stare at a blue dot, and I would talk to her. But Dev Null is, as you probably know, a Unix term. It means the bit bucket. So you're more than welcome to be Dev Null. But you can't be Chief Twit.
Okay.
There's only one Chief Twit.
You'll always be Dev Null to me.
Aw, thank you. I don't do that voice anymore, though. That was the most grating, annoying voice, and I deeply regret choosing it at the time. It was so annoying.
It was a different era.
It was. Times are changed. What's up?
Okay, my question involves Linux.
Uh-oh. This is one for Dev Null.
You got me going in that direction, and so I've decided to, put what little I know into a dangerous situation. So
good.
How.
No, that's good because that's how you learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
exactly.
If you just go within the same old ruts that you've gone your whole life, you'll never see the beautiful, landscape. So you can use Windows and Mac, and it probably should when you're, have to crash out a report for business for your work or something. But playing at home, have some fun, branch out. Tell me about your experience.
I have a home network. I have 8 or 9 computers on it.
Oh yeah, you're good.
And I decided to turn one of the desktops into a Linux box, putting Linux Mint 220.3 on it.
Good choice.
And what I've been doing with that is using it as a torrents download box, and other things as well.
Sure, it's like a little server.
But I also wanted to put. I have 2 additional physical drives in it. One's formatted NTFS, the other's formatted ext4. And what I wanted to do was to be able to connect those from like a Windows machine or a Mac machine that's on the network so that somebody can just drop files there to back up or, anything like that, or to play some off of it.
Within the house, or do you want to do it to the outside world?
Within the house.
Yeah,
within the house.
That's a lot safer. It's very risky to allow people to drop files onto your computer from outside.
Oh yeah, no, wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
but I can get the Linux part to recognize those other 2 drives.
Right.
But I can't get either Windows or Mac that are on the network to see either of those drives. They can see the Linux drive, but they can't see the 2 that are also in that box.
Huh. Interesting. So are you using some sort of file sharing like SMB or Samba on the Linux box?
Yes, turn that on.
Okay. And it's interesting because they are able to see the Linux box, the internal drive, fine. They can read and write to
Right,
it.
and can transfer files to it and back and forth.
But these
just like what I
attached
wanted
drives,
to do with the other two.
and these attached drives are attached via USB.
No, they're internal.
They're inside the computer.
Yeah.
I think that, and I'm not sure what's going on, but I think you're going to want to look at your FS tab.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
FS tab is actually a plain text file. It's the file system, and it describes all the drives on there. And if you want to maybe read up on this, don't just do this now. This is where you could easily get into trouble. You can make your machine non-bootable, but read up a little bit on it. But you can right now. You can cat/etc/fs tab. And you can see what the settings are in there. And every single device will have a setting. Now, yeah, I think Mint still uses this. This is kind of old school, but I suspect Mint still uses this. And at that point, you'll see there's a difference somewhere in the settings for the drive they can see and those other two drives. And almost certainly it's in the sharing settings. So I think that's something that I'm going to leave to you.
Yeah.
But because I can't, you'd have to show me your FS tab and all that stuff.
Right.
But that's a pointer in the direction that you want to look at. And if you,
that's what I need.
Yeah. If you look at, one of the reasons I like Arch and Arch derivatives, I actually use Manjaro, is the Arch Wiki is the single best resource for Linux information. Even if you're not using Arch, you're using Mint, which is a Debian derivative. But even then, look at the Arch Wiki for FS tab because it's amazing. It's got the most complete information. And that's because people who use Arch are generally building their system software from scratch. They put the kernel in, and then they put the different things in bit by bit. So there'll be a lot of extensive documentation on FS tab.
Okay, thank you. That points me in a direction, and that's what I was really...
Yeah, that's the way Linux works, right? In fact, in a way, we're kind of like a user group. You would go to a Linux user group, a lug, and you would raise your hand and say, hey, I'm doing this. And then somebody would stand up, some idiot like me would stand up and say, well, have you looked at the FS tab? And then, it's a pointer. Ultimately, it's best for you to figure it out because what a lot of us do, I do this too, I'm guilty of it, is we look up an article and we just copy it without knowing what the hell we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's when you can get a lot of trouble. You also want so you want to kind of understand it. On the other hand, I've done a lot of messing around with FS tab and I've broken my systems many times. So
yeah,
that's part of the fun.
Reset.
FS tab.
One other quick.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say one other quick question.
Yes.
Coming from the predominantly Windows and Mac world, you started me off on Pop OS.
Nice.
And
Very
really
good choice.
enjoy it, but I've outgrown it. And so I want to upgrade to make it another Mint box or maybe even go with the Arch Linux.
When you say outgrown it, what does that mean?
Well, I find that it's locked down in some ways where you can't do things that I want to do. And things that I've been able to do with the Mint that I couldn't even approach on Pop OS.
Right. So I would say you're a good candidate for Arch, especially since you have 9 machines. You take one other machine, not the one you're using for Mint, and what you're going to
have another one.
And you're going to go to the Arch Wiki and you're going to go step by step, and you will fail a few times. The biggest problem I've had installing Arch is just UEFI, EFI, and BIOS. Modern machines don't use BIOS anymore; they use UEFI, and it's kind of tricky setting that up. Once you get to that point, you'll build Arch from scratch. And what's great about it is you will learn things like FS tab. You will learn how all this stuff integrates and works, so you'll have a much deeper understanding. The other reason people use Arch is because there's absolute freedom. You only install the thing you want. You don't have to install anything else. And if you want something new, you know how you got there and you can do it. Again, the Arch Wiki. Here's the FS tab article in the Arch Wiki. And here's what an FS tab looks like. And you're going to see, and I suspect that the issue is going to be in here some of the settings. But this is actually, look how good this Arch Wiki is. It talks about how an FS tab is configured, what those different columns mean. It gives you all sorts of useful stuff. And I think somewhere in there is going to be something that will help you make those devices be seen by everything on the network. Oh, you
great.
can, yeah, almost. You can almost duplicate the one that is working, on the ones that aren't working, and that may careful again. But this, look how complete this is, and this is why you should actually be using Arch. Everybody who uses Linux, when you get to the point where I want more control, should install Arch once, and then I just install Manjaro, which is just an installer on top of Arch, because I don't want to do that again. But yeah, absolutely, you will learn so much about the internals that you will be much more confident. You'll be answering the questions, not me.
Well, okay, great.
Pleasure talking to you.
That's what I want to do.
It's so. I forgot to ask, where are you calling from?
West Covina, California,
Nice.
Southern California,
Nice. That's
near
great.
Pasadena.
Yeah, I know where it is. That's great. Hey, thank you for joining us on Ask the Tech Guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'm sure I'll be back.
Anytime.
Goes.
Hey, Leo, I messed up my FS tab. Uh-oh. Can't help you there. Justin, do you want to talk to us, or you don't have your hand raised? But I love
the hacker.
the view. Yeah, the view in Justin's room is beautiful. So let me just pick up on Justin, even though he doesn't have his hand raised. We've been watching him hacking away at something for a while.
All right.
Oh,
Hey,
there's some
Justin.
sound. Hello, Justin.
Hey.
Now you see why we think he's a hacker. Actually, we had a better view of what you were hacking. Now, is that a background, or is that really your house?
This is the house.
Behind you, there's a window to the outside. It's beautiful. Where do you live?
In Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Ah. Is it snowy right now?
We just got through a cold snap, so today's actually quite nice.
Yeah.
All
It's
week, most mornings I looked up the conversion.
Friend of mine in a rock band that played there told me it's the coldest place he'd ever played in his life.
Winterpeg, yeah.
Winterpeg.
Yeah.
There we go. There for a second, your audio changed, but you sound good again.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem.
How can we help?
All right. So I have a website for my photography and my music, and I created it with Squarespace, and I like the site as it is, but to keep the site up cost me about $350 a year.
Yikes.
So I guess two questions. Where can I host my site for less, and how can I transfer the content, or most of it at least, without starting from scratch?
Yeah, Squarespace is expensive. They got to raise the money to pay for Adam Driver in the Super Bowl commercials. It's just not it's not cheap. You certainly can run a website for a lot less, depending on how much you want to do it.
Exactly.
Where's your website?
So I will tell you, my main website is hosted at Squarespace. It's been there for a long time, but I don't use a lot of those extra features that end up costing more. I had a friend recently who asked me this same question, and he just wanted a one-page site. And so I pointed him over to a site called Card, CARRD.co. Card mostly charges annually, and I think it's like $25 a year. But it sounds like if you're paying about $350 a year, you might be doing blogging or something on your site, or selling products or something. What do you want?
This is the name tells you what it is. It's like a calling card. It's
Exactly.
a one-page site.
Yeah, and
so
you
that's
can-
why it's so cheap.
And that the cool thing is, though, there are different variations. So it's scrollable if you want it to be.
Oh,
but yes,
okay.
for the most part,
So you can make a long single page.
yeah, you can do forms, you can do little widgets and stuff like that. You can make a full page with it. But
$19 a year.
there you go, $19 a year.
Wow.
And that's with a custom domain, so you can have it with whatever domain you have.
Nice.
JustinTheHacker.com or whatever it happens to be.
Do you put your music on the site for download and purchase and that kind of thing?
Not download and purchase, but I do have a player up there. And I mean, it's already on all the streaming services.
Yeah, you can
and then I
even
also
have an
a link.
embedded SoundCloud player or whatever. That would be
Exactly,
Bandcamp,
yeah.
So that's
And I
every
have my
site can do
Flickr
that.
link there as well.
Okay.
So, but I don't use the site per selling, like I have gone there to my threadless page. So Squarespace isn't handling any commerce either. Maybe my plan is wrong. That could be
I
an
think
issue
you
of it,
overbought.
Yeah. It does sound like you may have over purchased. Now, depending on what you were trying to export, that can get complicated. If it was a blog you were trying to do, that's easier because you can get the RSS feed and then essentially import that RSS feed. So if you do decide to make the change, I think your best bet is going to be some Google Foo, where you're looking at transfer Squarespace to blank and see what tools might be out there, because it's not as simple as just going file, save as, and then, uploading, unless of course you were planning to host it on your own or do it, completely from scratch.
If you're more sophisticated, there are places you can have very good sites for free, as long as you don't need, modern sites, Squarespace, WordPress, Google, Blogspot, all are set up in such a way that you have the formatting and design of the page, and then you have a database for the content. And they're basically a content engine that pulls the database in. So you write your posts in the database, comments go in the database, and then the design pulls it in. And that's a much more complicated setup. That's called a dynamic page. If you have a static page, my website, leo.fm, is a static page. It's plain HTML. There's no database it's just plain HTML. If you want to do that, then, and the chat room's reminding me you can do this, GitHub, even a free account at GitHub will host a site like that. Mm-hmm. Actually, my favorite would be look at Cloudflare. Cloudflare has, paid tiers, but Cloudflare has a free tier that's pretty amazing for absolutely nothing. And it has DDoS protection, has a lot of the features of Cloudflare itself. But you're expected to be a little bit more sophisticated in how you do the site, not necessarily hand coding it. I'm using a static web page generator. It's called Hugo. It's really great. You basically write your post in Markdown. You run it through Hugo. Hugo knows your layout. You have a big, long configuration file or files, themes and stuff. And then it makes static pages that load very fast because there's no database access once they're written. And those static pages can be hosted on GitHub. In fact, the way I do it, I have a server over here that's just running Nginx and has the page there. But I also mirror it on GitHub. I just do a git push on my page over here. And then you can go to, I think it's leolaporte.github.io, and that's the page is static. And GitHub will let you do that for free because it's not doing any work. It's just hosting some HTML. So it kind of all depends on how deep you want to get into this, what your needs are. The nice thing about Squarespace, WordPress, and Blogspot is they're easy. Anybody can set up a site. I should throw in sites like Shopify, our sponsor, BigCommerce, Wix, sites which allow you to sell stuff. That's why I asked if you sell stuff, because they make it very, very easy. My son is not a web guru, but I'm always impressed when I go to his site. I go, wow, that's a beautiful site. He says, yeah, Shopify. So, and it's basically free because they take a commission on sales, right? So it really depends on what you want to do. This has become a very complicated thing. The most important thing to understand is this difference between dynamic and static, I think. If you need dynamic, that's going to be more expensive because they've got a database engine running in the background, but it's much more flexible.
Right. Yeah. No, that's pretty much all I need.
I think Card is a great solution, actually.
It's super simple to set up.
It's both easy and
super cost effective.
Cheap. Somebody else in demos in our chat room says format.com too, which I'm not familiar to. Format.com.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be complicated. It's pretty much just a landing page for my different
That's what
things.
Card is, right? Mm-hmm. It's designed for that.
Yep, mostly
for most
page.
people, that's all their website is. It's just, here's where my stuff is,
As far as that part where you're talking about transferring it, it may or may not be as simple as linking the two up or pointing it to a site. You may have to do some of the heavy lifting on your own there, unfortunately.
Yeah, you use Squarespace, and it's saying he spends $400 a year, but you're using their commerce. You're selling prints and all that stuff through there. So that's worth it to you because you make money off of it, I hope.
You can write it off.
You can write it off. It's a tax deduction.
Mine's about $240 a year.
$240, wow. You know how much I pay for my site? nothing. But then I'm running it on this box over here. And I guess if you include the cost of the studio and the electricity.
It's in there somewhere.
And the box, it maybe is cheaper to use Squarespace. Hey, it's nice to talk to you. I kind of jumped on you, and I apologize. You didn't have your hand raised, but I just had to see this beautiful. So is that behind you? Is that the great outdoors, or is that like a courtyard? Or
This is a mural.
Oh, you fooled me. You see, you should have said, "Oh yeah, that's my backyard." So you're in the basement. Now I get it.
I'm in the basement.
Now I get it. There's no windows.
There's a lot of snow out there.
Yeah, I know. Oh gosh. Hey, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it, Justin.
Yeah, thanks so much. Take care.
Even though you didn't want to be on, we made him be on. Our hacker friend, Justin. Do we have? When is Rod joining us so I can get an idea? At 1:30?
12:30.
12:30. So we got a half an hour to Rod. Should I go over and show this?
I'd love to see this. A gaming Chromebook.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew? I knew.
You knew. You knew about it.
Padre brought it to us. But Acer just sent it to us. And I thought, well, let's try it out. All right. Now, this, my friends, is a Chromebook, which is kind of amazing. Chromebooks, traditionally, we recommend them because they're inexpensive. This is not. It's more like $600. And they're very secure and very simple. Basically, it's the Chrome browser in a PC. But Acer has something else in mind. This is the 516 GE. And normally on the Chromebook, the things that, in order to make them inexpensive, the things you give up, are a quality trackpad, a quality keyboard, and most importantly, a quality display. Well, this is a heck of a display, 2560 by 1600. It's 120 hertz. So that's one of the things gamers want, is a high refresh rate. It's one of the things typically you don't find in a Chromebook. It also has a gaming keyboard. You can't see it very well in the studio, with multicolored lights, and it glows and it shifts. And you can kind of give away that it's a gamer laptop because the AWSD keys are highlighted in white. Those are the keys you use for movement typically in a game. Not for me. I'm a lefty. I always remap it to the arrow keys. But so this is, for me, this is almost a little right-hander bias in my opinion. You also get, they say, very good speakers. They call them force canceling speakers. I would call them crap tinny speakers, but okay, nomenclature, we can disagree. It's interesting because we do have Ethernet on this. In fact, there's a full-size Ethernet jack. Look at that. And it's 2.5 gigabits. So again, this is designed for somebody who wants to do not just hardcore gaming, but hardcore streaming gaming, right? And that's the key on this. Even though this does have, and you can get various processors in it, this does have an Intel i5 processor. When you're gaming on this thing, you're not actually gaming on this thing. It's designed to use the cloud gaming services like Microsoft's Xbox, or in this case, I'm going to run GeForce Now. Let me see. Is it not responding to my queries? GeForce Now is kind of fun. Do you have this screen? Oh, you do. Look at that. You see it, but I don't, because I am not mirroring. Now I'm going to have to figure out how this thing works. Battery life on it is amazing. Ethernet speed is amazing. The screen is amazing. I have to say, it is very fast. I am able to play games quite quickly. Here it is, displays. Yay, mirror built-in display. Well, that wasn't so hard, Leo. Well, you're not too bright, are you?
I mean, this is a pretty feature-packed Chromebook, right?
Well, I mean, it is. If one of the things I can do on this is launch Ubuntu. I put,
of course,
I've got Emacs on it. I mean, it's you can actually run Linux on Chromebooks these days.
Is it an official? Is it a blessed Chromebook, Leo? With all this extra stuff, it almost feels like it steps outside.
Oh no,
of what
it's a real
is.
legit, Google approved Chromebook. Let me plug in. This is actually kind of cool that I could do this. Full size Ethernet. Now I am on a 10. What is there? What is our switch here? Just one. Can we get a faster switch for Leo?
Editors
Editors have the 10 gigabit. We don't here. But you know what? It's fine for streaming games like GeForce Now. So let's launch the GeForce Now. What did I say? I was going to play Sons of the Forest.
Yeah, Daughters of Liberty. Yeah.
So this is loading on a NVIDIA RTX GPU in the cloud. You have to have the game on Steam for this particular game. So it'll let you connect with your Steam account. It also lets you connect with your EA account, your Good Old Games account. Should we play a little Sons of the Forest? Let's see. Let's continue so we don't just do it cutscene here.
Of course, the point of streaming gaming is most of the processing is happening on the other end. So couldn't you just play this on a low Chromebook?
You can, and that was kind of the point of streaming. So where you get an advantage here is if you're playing the high-end version of a game like this, which supports RTX graphics. Now I can use the RTX graphics, especially, I guess I don't have a game save, so I'll start a new game. Let's play Peaceful, shall we? This is a very, in my opinion, a very hard survival game. Because if you're playing a high-end game, you want high screen refresh rate.
Got it.
That's one area where you excel. The 2.5 gigahertz Ethernet, another area where you might want that if you're playing streaming gaming. Of course, more bandwidth, lower latency is a good thing. I love it that there's an Ethernet on here and a full-size HDMI on here. They really designed this for a unique audience, frankly. You're right, it's not the typical Chromebook audience, but what if you could get a gaming PC capable of RTX performance for $600?
Yeah.
It's also a great productivity tool. I mentioned you can be running Linux, but you can also be running Android applications. So this is a cutscene, so it's not a great demonstration. But okay, let me see if I can skip this. Actually, maybe
Sometimes a nice escape button will let you see. Oh, yeah, it does seem like you're playing, though.
yeah, it feels like I'm looking out the window.
Wow, look at that. The shine on those headphones on the chair.
Yeah, they're shiny. It's somewhat pre-rendered, I would guess, because I'm able to look around a little bit. The plot of this is that you are stuck in a forest. Okay.
And you're the son of someone.
No,
presumably.
the game is the son of someone.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, and so we can look at our assignment. I love the name Virginia Puffton. I don't know who she is, but we've got to find her.
Of the Puftons.
Of the Puffton clan. Yes, she is of the Puftons. Barbara and Edward Puffton. Yes, they're wealthy and they've become lost. He's the CEO of Puffcomp.
And you're the son, Puffton, who's looking
No,
for
I'm
the
a soldier.
forest? I don't understand where the son of
Me
the
and
forest comes into
Fisheye and Kelvin are going searching for these guys. I guess we're going to have to wait and let's see.
So the goal is not to find the son of the forest, I see. Okay.
No, the game is the sun. Fight demons. Oh, obviously I've got problems. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
dear.
Somebody shot us out. Oh, no. We're going down.
I know who shot you.
You do?
Yeah, it was the son of the forest.
Stop it. Just stop it.
I'm sorry.
There is a lady in this game with 3 legs and 3 arms.
What?
Yeah,
so it's kind of spooky.
It's spooky. It's creepy. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he fell. Bye, guy.
And there go your meals ready to eat.
Uh-oh, I'm underwater. What am I going to do?
Break the glass, Leo. Break the glass.
Really? Okay. Can I do it? Oh,
no.
I can't help you, sir.
Sorry,
Can you
pal.
go on the other side of the helicopter?
Hey, just try to
No?
go around.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh, now you put your fist down?
Yeah, now I try to break the window. You know, let's do it with my boots. That's the best way to do it. E, I'm hitting E.
Slam it.
E.
Oh, my
There goes
goodness.
the door.
I was fooled by that F4 joke once years and years ago.
Somebody in our chat room was giving out a dev null Linux tip that would erase your home directory. Don't listen to commands issued in the chat room, okay?
Yes.
Please, I beg of you, whatever you're doing.
Oh, did you make it?
So I don't know if you can hear the sound. Yeah, I made it. Hold on a second. It's loading.
Oh, okay.
You can hear the sound okay? Oh, it's coming through HDMI.
Yeah, I can hear the
Okay.
sound. It sounds good. Oh, well, that's rude.
Wait a minute. Hey, knock it off,
Hey,
buddy.
shiny jacket.
Uh-oh. That's the guy who shot us, I'm guessing.
weirdo. Knocked out.
So the audio coming out of the speakers, even though it looks like a Mac, you know, the Mac Pro speakers. MacBook Pro speakers are so good, so rich. And these look like those, but they're not.
But they don't sound like
They don't. But you know what? You're going to wear headphones because you're a real gamer.
Exactly.
So who cares?
And for the price, I mean, that's great that there are speakers that it can.
So now we're playing. There's very little hesitation. You're able to run around. I'm sorry, I had a saved game, but obviously it wasn't saved properly. I'm supposed to look in all of these things and wander around. But this will give you an idea.
It looks really good.
Yeah. It's using an RTX in the cloud, which is amazing. A NVIDIA GPU in the cloud. Now, you pay a lot for the monthly fee, but this Chromebook comes with a 4-month high-end NVIDIA GeForce Now subscription. So you can at least try it out and see if you like it. I actually don't have the high-end subscription at home. I'm fine without it. But this is 4K capable. And we're getting this is a 4K screen, high refresh rate. We're going up in the mountains. Really, I should have opened my inventory, taken out the axe here in my emergency pack. Left mouse open. I guess was that the right mouse? I guess I should have opened that sucker. Look what's in there. Oh, there's a. Looks like a. Anyway. I'm not gonna last long. Let's just put it that way. I don't get the axe and the knife and all that stuff.
The shadows and the reflection all look quite good.
Okay, so for a gaming PC, this is good.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
If you have enough bandwidth and you're low enough latency, you certainly can play a high-end game. This is a AAA title, brand new, very hot. They sold 2 million copies of this game last weekend. Very, very hot right now. It's actually in beta. It's impressive. HDMI 2.1, yeah, so you can go drive a nice 4K screen at a high refresh rate. Wi-Fi 6E, so if you're not close to an Ethernet port, you can at least get the high-speed Wi-Fi on here. I think in general, this is a really nice system. It is, I'll let you handle this a little bit. It feels a little cheesy. It's a plastic body. It looks aluminum. It's not.
That's not.
This is brushed aluminum here, but. Well, maybe it's plastic.
It's plastic.
That's plastic. It also, like many Chromebooks, it feels a little light. I wouldn't say the trackpad is as good as, look, I'm comparing it to a MacBook, so I probably shouldn't do that. It's not as good as a MacBook, but it's very good for a Chromebook. Keyboard has a little bounce. It's a little bit not ideal, but not terrible. This is certainly as good a Chromebook as you're going to get, even for the $1,000 models of Chromebooks. I would say this is comparable. Lots of speed with an i5. Now, of course, an i5 is going to cost you more. You can get this up to $1,200 easily. This is the Acer Chromebook 516 GE.
Remind me, does it have fans?
Oh, it has fans. Many fans, yeah. It has to have fans because it's a Intel processor.
Fair enough.
The hinge is good. It's a nice looking device. If it's gaming that's on your mind, if that's what you want to do, you can. It's a very nice gaming machine. But of course, it also does everything else a Chromebook does, including go to Starbucks. So I don't know why, but some reason Google's decided, or maybe this is an Acer thing. It's decided to put a Starbucks logo in my menu. I do have a Fastmail logo, probably because I logged in. This is decent, and you have the Play Store, so you can absolutely load Android stuff on here. In fact, the GeForce Now is an app. So one of the things that's changed a lot with Chromebooks is it runs apps. This is an app. This is not running in Chrome. And you see there's some other apps we can install, including Discord, Peacock, HBO Max. I suspect an app running on a Chromebook is still pretty much not a standalone app. The Android apps certainly are. The Linux apps certainly are. But I would say, if you're running an app, it's probably a Chrome app, right? Remember those Chrome apps? Still pretty nice, and there's some fun things you can do. Lots of great games in GeForce Now or Xbox Cloud or EA. I'm going to say thumbs up if you want a Chromebook and you do want to do some gaming. You're paying the price for a little gaming machine, but this is pretty darn impressive. And so is Sons of the Forest. I'm going to die any minute now. I know it.
Something falls out of the tree and just takes you out.
Yeah. So we thank Acer for sending us this. So because I was interested in, well, how good can a Chromebook be? And I'm pretty impressed. But we're going to send it back tomorrow. So thank you, Acer, for that. Shall we go on with more calls? Do we have a video call? This would be a good time to do that so I can walk over while we're listening to the video call.
Yeah, a video call per chance.
Let's do it.
From the email.
Hi, my name is Jeremy, and I'm recording this in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm switching over from LastPass to BitWarden, and I have no problem exporting my vault from LastPass into a CSV file to import it in BitWarden. But I also have passwords saved on Keychain on my iPad and my iPhone. But Apple support tells me without a Mac computer that I don't have, I only have a Windows computer, that I can't export all of my Keychain passwords to a CSV file all in one go. I have to airdrop them one at a time, and that's not good for me because I have a lot of passwords saved in Keychain. I'm wondering if you can suggest an alternate method other than airdropping them one at a time. Thank you.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I am fairly certain that, and I'm looking, iCloud for Windows. So iCloud for Windows 12.5, and maybe even be further along now than that, has the Keychain access. And so you will be able to export using iCloud for Windows. So just look up iCloud for Windows, and we'll see what version it is at this point.
It does have, it looks like the Keychain app does have an export as well. I wonder,
the
though,
Keychain app itself does, but only on the Mac. You cannot do it with iPad or with iPhone.
I see.
Yeah.
Only on the Mac, and he's got an iPad. So, so that's why you want to install iCloud for Windows, which actually is pretty good these days.
Yeah.
It does a lot of stuff, more than I really thought it would, given Apple's feelings about Windows machines.
Right.
They're really supporting them quite well.
Yep.
Good.
So we will include a link to that application. It's available in the Microsoft Store, and you are able to use it to manage those iCloud passwords and get them moved over to your system.
We should, just for size comparison, put that next to your head. Just so you know how big it is.
A mica for scale.
It's a 15-inch big laptop.
Yeah, whenever you pulled it out and said this was a Chromebook, I thought, wait, that's quite large.
Yeah, it is GE stands for Gaming Edition. I think Acer makes the best, frankly, Chromebooks. They make other ones. Let me just check. I don't know exactly what the price is for this as equipped, because this is kind of, they've put everything fancy into it. It goes all the way up to an i7, which is kind of amazing. I wouldn't put an i7 in it because you're not going to be doing anything 16-inch. You're not going to be doing anything needing more horsepower than what I was doing. Notice only 8 gigs of RAM. Mm-hmm. The internal graphics are Iris Xe, but you're not relying on those, again, when you're streaming. It does have an unusually large hard drive, 256 gigs for a Chromebook. That's pretty good.
Yeah, because the whole conceit of Chromebook is typically that it's all stored in the cloud, right?
I guess the model I have is $650. I thought it might be more. All right, so there you go. It looks like you can't really add anything more to it.
And it's a nice fingerprint collector there on the top.
Hey, so's my my MacBook Air, and that's why mine's in a plastic case. Somebody said it's like I have Eastern European grandma syndrome. You know how they wrap their...
Put everything in plastic.
Yeah, they wrap their sofas in plastic. Our show today brought to you, and I mean brought to you literally by CashFly, our CDN. Now, I got to tell you, and we've learned this, you probably realize it yourself, you don't hang around. If you press a button in the website, I just did this the other day. I was looking at a website. It took forever to load. Okay, fine. I don't need it that bad. A video doesn't load. Boom. Who cares, right? Customers are not going to hang around for your content to load. So don't give them a reason to leave. You can dramatically increase your site's and app's speed over long distances globally, worldwide, with CacheFly. We love CacheFly. And so do 3,500 other clients in over 80 countries around the world. Organizations like us use CacheFly for scalability. That was our big problem. We were trying to get copies of our shows out to hundreds of thousands of people in just a matter of an hour. We needed CacheFly, and they saved our bacon. This was more than 10 years ago. But also reliability, and I have to say, never had a problem with CacheFly. Unrivaled performance. Some markets are more challenging than others. Content delivery costs vary drastically. We found that out. You'll want to partner with a CDN that knows what it takes to deliver content fast in global markets and is straightforward and honest about the cost to get you there. Plus, they smooth out the spikes for us. We're very spiky. You know, all our downloads occur in the first, really mostly few minutes after a show is posted. CacheFly helps us with that. Plus, it's really great because they have such a great presence now in South and Central America. This is a huge and emerging market, not just for podcasts, but for gaming and all kinds of entertainment over the next 5 years. CacheFly is committed to doing what it takes, and that means getting through complex government regulations and tariffs and laws so that they can get into Latin America, and they've added many pops down there. IP traffic in Asia Pacific growing every year about 25%. That's huge. Australia, that's included. And because of the lack of early investment in that area, many network operators are struggling to cover the whole continent. Well, don't worry. CacheFly is in Melbourne. It's in Perth. It's in Sydney. It's all over. They need one at Ayers Rock, and they'll be set. India is a market that also can't be ignored. One of the world's fastest-growing consumer economies. Huge mobile content consumption. That's the primary form of computation. Many business operations are tied to the West. They need access to the West by providing edge-optimized content tailored to the mobile market in India with dedicated transfer and caching solutions. CacheFly's got you covered. This is what I love about CacheFly. Anywhere in the world, CacheFly's 50-plus points of presence across the globe give you ultra-low video streaming, more than 1 million users concurrently. That's awesome. I'd love to have 1 million viewers of this show. Let's work on it.
Yes.
We can do it thanks to CacheFly. Lightning-fast gaming delivers downloads faster with zero lag, glitches, or outages. Mobile content optimization that offers automatic and simple image optimization so your site loads faster on any device. Plus, you never pay for service overlap again. I love the billing. CacheFly's flexible month-to-month billing for as long as you need it. Discounts for fixed terms once you kind of got it dialed in. Basically, you design your own contract when you switch to CacheFly. And we know it because we've been using CacheFly forever. We wouldn't have it any other way. Building trusted CDN relationships since 1999, 24 years now, CacheFly continues to hold a track record for high-performing, ultra-reliable content delivery. Thank you, CacheFly, the only CDN built for throughput, delivering rich media content up to 10 times faster than traditional delivery methods, 30% faster than other major CDNs. Learn how you can get your first month free. CacheFly, CacheFly.com. You've heard me say it many times. Bandwidth for Ask the Tech Guys is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. All right, who should we take next? Maxfield has had his hand up for some time. Let's get him on the line here. I think audio only. Hello, Maxfield.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you calling from?
East Bay, not far at all.
Oh,
East
look,
Bay.
we can see him.
Yay.
Welcome.
Welcome
got
to
it.
the show.
East Bay. What can we do for you?
Indeed. Well, I was tasked not long ago with taking family fit videos and photos and digitizing them, making them modern, some semblance of security beyond just having pieces of paper. Mm-hmm. And I thought, gee, YouTube is a great place to put video for free.
Yes.
And as it turns out, this foolish decision has kicked me in the butt.
Oh, no.
Because it turns out some of these videos, unbeknownst to me, feature miniature me and my siblings nude in the
Naked.
bath, that sort of
no.
stuff.
Uh-oh.
And
And we know Google is fussy about that.
apparently, and so the question, and so as a result, I'm locked out of my YouTube.
Oh!
The affiliated accounts for which were brand accounts that I'm affiliated with.
no.
And
All you
so
can do
I'm
is
wondering-
appeal this.
Yeah.
There was we reported on it some months ago, a New York Times article about a guy who had a kid who had a rash. His doctor said, send me a picture of the rash. He did. But as you know, often with smartphones, Google Photos backup gets it, and it did. And the picture was a nude child with a rash, and he lost his Google account. And the story is a sad story. I don't know if he ever got it back completely, but all you can do is appeal. and I'm so sorry this happened to you, Maxfield. That's terrible. Did you know that the videos had child nudity in it?
Not directly.
Yeah.
No.
Right. And
So it's
I
just
don't
a
think
bunch
you were
of
thinking
stuff.
about it either. You know,
Yeah.
whenever you're
No, and
doing
that's obviously not the intention here.
Right.
So,
So what I'm seeing is when it takes 24 hours before kind of they give you a 24-hour cooldown, and then it's saying when you try to log back into your Google account, you should see an option that says start appeal. Have you seen that option yet?
I have, and so far that the appeal process has given me the runaround.
Okay.
Whether or not, that's legitimate or not, I don't know to what extent there's a human there.
Do you want to hear the story of the dad and what happened to him?
I'm curious. Yeah. What's
Let
the
me.
scope?
This is from the New York Times, August 25th, 2022. It could actually be worse because not only did he lose the account, but Google referred it to the authorities. The sad thing is the police on review said, no problem, you're cleared. But for some reason, Google didn't acknowledge that. And, you understand they're very sensitive about CSAM. I mean, everybody's very nervous about that. Let's see. A severe violation. Mark, who's in his 40s, came to rely heavily on Google, synced appointments on calendar. Probably not even as much as you did. You have business
With the brand
accounts.
accounts. Yeah.
That's bad news. His account had been disabled because of harmful content that was, quote, a severe violation of Google's policies and might be illegal. Did you get that warning?
Yeah, I got illegal. I got the
So
child pornography
Yeah,
warning.
prepare yourself because Google may then refer you to the police. Google's review team flagged a video, and the San Francisco Police Department was sent the information and started to investigate him. Now, the good news is the police are human.
Yes.
They're
You
not
actually
a
are talking to
Python
human
script.
beings, exactly.
So the police immediately said, oh, no, yeah, of course, this is a picture you sent to the doctor, and it's not child porno. But the problem is Google is using, Content ID in YouTube, which not notices copyright stuff. They use something called Photo DNA, which was created by Facebook originally. And it does the same thing for nudity. So Photo DNA flags it. Google will I'm sorry, not Facebook, Microsoft came up with this. Facebook uses it. It flags it, and then it refers it to a human. The human apparently decided this was bad. The Times says a human content moderator for Google would have reviewed the photo after they were flagged by the artificial intelligence to confirm they met the federal definition of CSAM, child sexual abuse material. When Google makes such a discovery, it locks the account, searches for other exploitative material, and as required by federal law, makes a report to the cyber tip line at NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. How long ago did this happen to you, Maxfield?
So there was some time in between the fact that I uploaded about a year ago, and I started getting emails saying your account's been taken down only about a month ago.
Okay.
So
But a
there
month
was
is enough
significant
time that if NCMEC had decided to refer it to the authorities, you probably would know by now, I would think. But that's frankly, the larger risk at this point. I think Nick Mick is probably smarter and said, oh, yeah, that's just videos of him as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal, right? This is the problem. This is why Apple dropped its CSAM scanning, because of this false positive. So let's see. This was back in 2021. Mark got a letter from the SFPD saying you've been investigated, as well as copies of the search warrants served on Google and his ISP. An investigator looked at his internet searches, his location history, his messages, any document. You get in this system, it's a meat grinder.
Yeah.
The search related to child exploitation videos had taken place in February, within a week of the photos. So this is why I think you might be okay. The investigator, Mark talked to the investigator, said the case is closed. The investigator said, I determined the incident did not meet the elements of a crime. No crime had occurred. That's what would almost certainly happen for you, Maxfield, especially since they're older videos and, but that did not fix it with Google.
Yep.
Mark appealed his case to Google again, providing the police report, but to no avail. After getting a notice 2 months ago that his account was being permanently deleted, he talked to a lawyer about suing Google, how much it might cost. Mark said it's probably not worth the $7,000 I would told it would cost to do that. So, I mean, this is a sad story. This does not have a happy ending. I hope yours does.
I think the biggest, I'm looking at Google's own support documentation, and one of the situations where, because typically if your account is disabled or locked, you are still able to go in and download your data from the site.
Oh.
However, if it involves child sexual abuse material, you are not able to go in and download your data.
Have you gone to the Google
locked.
Takeout to see if you can get your data out of it?
That is my experience as well. No,
Okay.
I have not been able to download.
My biggest suggestion for you is if you're, I don't know how any of this works, behind the scenes, having obviously not gone through the process, but if you are able to restart the appeal or try to figure out, because you said they're giving you the runaround on the appeal without clarity on what that means exactly, just try to follow through as much as possible.
Persistence pays. in
Yeah,
this case.
exactly.
And we've had that experience with Facebook and Google and other ones. It's a big company with billions of users, and it's very hard to kind of get through the process.
And you can't be the only one to have done this. This is
very common.
Yeah, to upload
It's
old
very
photos and videos from your childhood.
This poor guy, Mark, even though he was exonerated by the SFPD, this is the funny thing. The SFPD has all of his account. They downloaded everything, and they saved it. But he can't get it from them. He can't get Google to respond. But a police spokesman did say the department's eager to help him. So maybe your best bet is getting investigated and exonerated, and they would have a copy of it. Oh, my God. That's not a good solution at all. I am so sorry this happened to you, Maxfield.
This is awful.
There's no, we don't have a magic wand we could wave. And I don't know, we know people at Google, but my experience, people often write to me saying, can you intercede with me with Facebook or Google? And I try, but they all say, oh, that's not my department. I can't help you.
Yeah, exactly. The people you do know there don't do that.
It's
that's
a big company, 100,000 employees. Gosh,
Right.
Mark, are you a trumpeter? I see the brass instruments behind you there.
There are some horns in the background. That is indeed. And then Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, nice.
You bet.
I would say too, your story is one that I would imagine that some journalists might be interested in. So you may reach out to The Verge.
I would say that too, but the New York Times did a huge expose.
That's true. The New York Times couldn't get them to do it.
And nothing. And I don't know if your story is published in the New York Times and Google still doesn't respond. I think that's proof positive they don't care.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. This is a nightmare. What kind of music do you play?
Along the same line, so 1930s and 40s is really
Sammy Davis style.
Oh yeah, big band.
Can you play the
Fred
Candy?
Astaire,
Can you play something for us?
Oh, they're not. These aren't functional at the moment.
Oh,
hence why they're on display rather than being used.
Do you play in a band?
I fiddle around, so to speak.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I enjoy it.
Nice, Maxfield. I'm pleased to have met you, and I'm sorry that
this
that happened to you. I'm glad you called, though, because people need to hear this.
Yes. Do not use YouTube as your video storage service
but you know what?
This kind of stuff.
I would, for instance, I uploaded all my family videos to Google Photos, not YouTube. Same problem, right?
Yeah.
Mark, this guy in the New York Times story, it was Google Photos. They scan all that stuff. If you're putting it in the cloud with almost anybody, it's almost certainly getting scanned. And there's a good reason. They're liable.
Yes, that's why. It's the liability.
There's no Section 230 protecting them against CSAM. So they're liable for anything that they store on their cloud. So they scan it all. Apple does too. They scan the iCloud stuff. So golly.
Wow, that's tough.
that answers the question, is there an alternative cloud solution?
I would say no. Yeah. Let me think about that. That's an interesting question.
Because I'm thinking even Dropbox would still...
Well, they scan.
Yeah, scan. So.
Everybody has this relationship with NCMEC and they've got this, and almost everybody uses PhotoDNA. It's the same software. Microsoft developed it 20 years ago almost, and everybody uses it. So
flash drives. You got to go back to the...
Gosh, let me think. I should contact Chris McCaskill over at SmugMug and see. SmugMug's a great place. I store all my photos there. There may be some smaller providers that don't, that don't scan. SmugMug hosts a lot of photographers, a lot of artists. They host stills mostly, but they also do video. That's where I put my family photos to share with family. But I can't promise. I will, over the week, I will send an email to the McCaskills and see if they do. And if they say, because they may not want to admit it if they don't.
Yeah. And this is a good point that people are saying in the chat. If you're hosting your own on a network attached storage, that could be the place to keep it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would just, for me, if I was specifically tasked with doing this, I would give everybody a flash drive or a CD, or DVD. One, depending on the family member and how tech savvy they were, they would get one of those devices.
This is a new world. This is. I don't blame you for not being prepared for this.
Yeah. Let's be clear. That was not a foolish thing that you did in making that happen. You had no expectation because it was a completely innocent thing that you did. So I hope that you're not beating yourself up too much about that part of it. And in coming on the show, and coming on the show and talking about it, though, thank you, because you have helped us warn all of the people who listen to this show.
That's some minor
who would do the same.
Consolation. I'm so sorry, dude.
Max, thank you nonetheless.
Thank you. And when we open the studio, I hope you'll come by and visit since you're so near.
Indeed.
All right. Take care, sir. Thank you. Wow. That's just sad.
That is sad.
And I understand.
I get it from both. I understand why these companies are doing this and protecting themselves, and you would rather have one that false positives a little bit more than misses. So I get why it happened the way that it did, but the appeal process should be a lot better than it is.
And I really don't. Thank you, Raymond Thoth sent me a SmugMug blog post. They store their stuff on Amazon S3. So even if SmugMug didn't scan, I bet Amazon does. This is just like Content ID on YouTube. It's just an automated process that's looking for, we don't even know because it's not open. What is it looking for? They don't want to tell anybody because they don't want bad guys to know
exactly
what not to do and that kind of thing. So I don't think Mike B's asking about the OneDrive Personal Vault, which is an encrypted vault within your OneDrive. Yeah, I mean, for sure, if you encrypted it before you uploaded it, nobody can see into it.
All right.
But then you would have to give the password to everybody else.
Yep.
This is the problem. This system...
I just don't think this is not where you're going to share videos of your family.
But I just have to point out, this system doesn't stop CSAM either.
Right.
Because if you're spreading this, you know enough to pre-encrypt. You know how to avoid this.
But they don't want to make it easier.
No, I guess not. And they're liable.
Yep.
And that's really...
they don't care about the rest of it. They just don't want to be liable.
Is Mr. Pyle in the house?
In the house.
Yes, he is.
Oh.
We gotta play. We can't play your song. So in your mind, everybody, if you would help us, audience at home, just hum in your mind Elton John's Rocket Man now. Because it's in your mind, not out loud. It's time for Rod Pyle, our spaceman. Rod, of course, longtime contributor on the Tech. Actually, not that long. You are our newest contributor, editor-in-chief of Ad Astra, the official publication of the National Space Society at space.nss.org. And the host of our wonderful show, which I'm loving more and more all the time, This Week in Space. In fact, I don't think it's a secret, Rod, but we're going to be able to see your smiling face on the show pretty soon.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
No,
there will be no nudity on my show. Want you to know,
because we're scanning
short or otherwise. Yeah,
we're scanning it.
And if it was a picture of me as a child, it would be a daguerreotype, and you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So there you go.
The This Week in Space show is at twit.tv/twis. Rod Pyle, Tarek Malik from space.com hosts the show. And we thought, we've been trying to get and I think we've succeeded almost, all of our contributors from the old show on with us from time to time.
And once again, I was last.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Johnny Jett is last. Johnny Jett is last. Yep. There's one.
Really? I got in before Johnny. Oh. I'm preening now. Thank you.
So, Rod, what's up in space? I saw one funny thing I'm going to ask you about.
Yeah?
Because we're all piling on Elon these days. He's got this Starship, right? That SpaceX wants to launch. But
a bunch of them.
Yeah, but there's been so many delays and stuff. Mushrooms were growing in the cowling of the fuel. Is this right?
Yeah.
Is that common?
It's humid down there. I mean,
it's Florida.
So he had mushroom. Well, no, this is in Boca Chica.
Oh, it's Boca Chica. Okay.
But it's similar latitude, similar temperature, environment, and humidity and stuff. But at least it's just mushrooms. You can go scrape those out with your hand, right? On the other hand, when we were trying to get Starliner, Boeing's delivered to the ISS space capsule off last year, instead they had rusted valves from that environment.
Oh.
Now you'd think that decades of working on spacecraft down at the Cape would tell you, okay, don't use, cold iron or pot metal or whatever. Oxidized. I'm exaggerating, I grant you.
You'd think it's all aluminum or titanium or something, right?
Well, or at least something oxidation proof, because those valves gotta twist around for the thing to take off.
Spray it with the
Rust-Oleum.
Rust-Oleum, yeah. So, or smear it with Crisco or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's got to be a way.
That's what I do.
But they're planning to launch
No
in the
rust
next
on
few
him.
months. So we got what? Wait a minute, what?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
It's a Crisco joke. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. They're getting going. Starship, there's been a lot of delays. Part of it is just that it's really complicated. Part of it, maybe, I suppose we could prognosticate, might have something to do with Twitter. Although, Gwynne Shotwell is the president of SpaceX, and she really runs the show there. So Elon does his thing, comes and goes. He's got, how many bajillion companies to deal with now. So Gwynne keeps it running. So they really are moving fast. Part of the delay was the FAA hanging them up in terms of permitting and licensing to let them go. So they had a bunch of hurdles they had to clear. It took many months, and then finally they said, okay, you can launch, but you got to do these 71 things before you do so. But I mean, it's stuff like road closures and environmental interactions, and you got to do it only on these certain days, not on holiday weekends and all that, because there's a few people living down there. And my sympathy to them. But, being a space guy, I'm kind of like, yeah, I feel bad for you, but I want to see the rocket go. So we're expecting this quarter.
February 27th,
so the mushrooms.
They say they're going to launch the next Crew Dragon, right? The Crew Star.
Yeah, tomorrow. So that's Crew 6. That's their 6th flight up the ISS. And at a very good time, because as you will recall, we had the Soyuz MS-22 capsule up there, which...
Another leak!
Hit by a meteor and vented out all its coolant. And then the Progress, which is the cargo version, the uncrewed cargo version that delivers stuff, went up just a short while ago. and it sprung a similar kind of leak. And they said, another meteor strike, which reminded me of that moment of Red October when what's his name looks at Alec Baldwin or at the Russian ambassador and says, Dmitry, you've lost another Russian submarine. You got another meteorite hit on your. How are the meteors missing the space station, but they're hitting that little tiny capsule? So I don't know. We'll see. You know, they got to get it back.
But
so
on the bright side, they make it with tinfoil, so there's no rust.
True.
Right?
Well, there you go. You cruel, harsh man. So, and then the Russians launched the MS-23 Soyuz, which does take a crew, but they launched it empty. So now they have a lifeboat up there, and they can bring back the damaged one without people in it. So there's no risk, and at least get a look at it, and maybe possibly tell us what they found was wrong.
Thank goodness.
So so now we have, as of today, we have enough spacecraft up there to bring everybody home if something goes wrong, which is very good. And then but it's just going to be on standby. The 2 cosmonauts, the American astronaut that were going to come back on the one that sprung a leak, are going to end up staying a year instead of 6 months. So it kind of screws up the rotations, but at least they can get back onto a schedule.
I know you've talked to astronauts a lot. Is that when they hear that news, it seems like that, guys, you know you were going to stay 6 months. Did you pack some extra underwear because it's going to be a year? Are they glad to hear it or sad to hear it? Because there's also some physiological side effects.
Yeah, I think most of them welcome it because the adventure, if you will, and the ability to continue contributing. Because I mean, these guys are the truest of true believers, right?
Yeah,
outweighs the risks. But as you say, especially for men, there's some issues. For women, there are different issues. You know, the radiation can affect
what happens
well,
to men?
I'll get there.
Okay.
Radiation can affect reproductive system and so forth, but the radiation isn't very high at the altitude of the ISS because magnetosphere blocks a lot of it. For men, so we've got this thing with intracranial pressure that we know, right?
Yeah.
The fluids redistribute. You feel like you got a head cold all the time.
I had that
you can't
last
taste
night.
anything.
I had such a headache.
Yeah, and so that's why they eat so much sriracha and chili peppers up there to
Wait a
try
minute.
and taste something.
Are you joking?
No.
Because
that sriracha is like in huge demand because otherwise they can't taste much because their head's all stopped up. But because of that pressure, we think, for some reason, the eyes begin to defocus and the vision starts to go. So you can correct it with glasses, but it does distort the eyeball. For some reason, it happens to men and almost never to women. So once again, Leo, you can tell Lisa that she is in fact superior.
Yes. Well, she knows that. I don't have to tell
We
her.
bow to her genetics, which are obviously better than yours and mine.
But swollen eyeballs is not a good thing. You don't want that.
No, and you know what's weird is, so this intracranial pressure thing, theory was around for a long time and is still in consideration. But for somebody like Scott Kelly, who came back, I don't know, what, 2 years ago?
A long
3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. His eyes haven't returned to normal.
Oh, wow.
Because he's back on the ground.
Yikes.
Now, you know, I wear glasses. I think you wear glasses. So it's like, so what? You know, you wear glasses. It's worth it for that kind of adventure. But yeah, so the additional time can have some complications. And who knows what's going on the ground for those guys. You know, hopefully none of them have spouses having children or anything. But, you know,
I just hope
pick your card and take your chances.
Bring extra socks. You might be
Extra
there a little bit longer. There's no laundry. Is there laundry up there?
They pack the dirty stuff. So they've got enough changes, as I understand it, that they don't.
Yeah, but
have
you
to
can't
do it,
pack
'cause it's
for
hard to-
6 months and then spend a year and not.
Well, but there's deliveries of stuff constantly.
Oh,
yeah.
Do they have
So that's
underwear
what
and sock delivery? That would be pretty cool.
You bet.
Fresh laundry.
That Russian Progress I told you that went up, which is the other version of the Soyuz, is just a freighter. So it delivers stuff. We have a couple of different, you know, the regular old Dragons deliver stuff with their uncrewed flights, and there's other spacecraft that do that. But I have another story. I got a bunch of stories. How much time are we going to spend?
Take all the time you want.
Tell us more.
There's no radio company saying, wait a minute, we got to get our 19 minutes of ads in.
My God. I did Coast to Coast last week. And I think out of the hour, we might have done 33 minutes of editorial.
That's about right, yeah. Because it's not just
thought,
19 minutes of ads. There's local news at the top and the bottom of the hour.
Yeah, yeah.
I think,
And his
I
other
don't
guests.
remember, but I think it was about 32 or 33 minutes of content an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of ads.
Loads of fun.
So Asteroid Ryugu, which you will remember from Dan Suarez's book, which was very well documented there.
We were talking about that earlier. I called it Ragnarok. It's Ryugu. Ryugu. Okay.
I kind of like
really
that
call it Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I kind of like Ragnarok too. We just got an article written up by the Japanese. So they sent their probe Hayabusa there a few years back, and it grabbed a very small sample and returned it to Earth. So they've been looking at it ever since, and they have found, not entirely surprisingly, prebiotic organic molecules. And what does that mean? Well, if you remember Star Trek II, you remember their discussion of prebiotics, which is, it's the building blocks of life, but it's not quite there yet. But it does include amino acids and some others that only form in the presence of water. So is this a big deal? Well, kind of, because, we're still curious about where life came from on Earth. And increasingly, as we look at asteroids and meteors and even comets, we're finding these organic compounds, and on moons of other planets, by the way, and maybe even out as far as Pluto, although they haven't confirmed that yet. There's organic compounds out there that probably made their way to Earth in the early days and may have been what got us started. So, you and I may
The
be
seeds of life are on
moderate-sized asteroid
Ryugu
survivors. Yeah.
That's really
Well,
cool. Does
and-
it
and so
change because of course in Daniel's book, which by the way, great book, Critical Mass, it was a successor to Delta V. They go to Ryugu to harvest it, and there's a lot of valuable resources there. Is that turning out to be true based on the spectroscopy?
From body to body is different, but yeah, there's an asteroid that's expected to be very, very high in platinum content. There's a number of them, actually.
Is Ryugu all that?
I don't
It's just
recall
easy
that
to
it
reach.
is.
Yeah, it's just easy to get
I think
to.
it's more of a carbonaceous chondrite type, which means
Yeah,
it's this
I know
kind
how
of
that is.
carbony pre-organic goo.
People call me that a lot.
But but it's exciting to find that. What's missing on Ryugu that they found in some other asteroids or meteorites are sugars and components of RNA and DNA that have been found in carbonaceous chondrites, which are the most common kind of meteorite. And of course, those meteorites came from bigger asteroids that got broken up.
It looks more like the kind of stuff left over in my grill after a heavy smoke. Did you see? Can you show? Do you have my screen? I know we're having trouble with the TriCaster.
Wait a minute. You got a picture of your grill?
No.
Yes, right there.
Sort of. This is from
Oh, that's the
space.com.
sample.
That's the sample they brought back.
From our good friend Tarek Malik. Yeah. So, the takeaway from this for me is the stuff of life is everywhere. And so I think, what I find encouraging about this is it feels like it's just a matter of time before we find it somewhere else, whether it's the surface of Mars, current or fossilized. Our friend Pascal Lee, who's been on the podcast a couple of times, says he expects it to be found in a cave or a lava pit somewhere where it's sheltered from radiation and so forth. Maybe got some warmth, that there's still seismic activity there. I mean, who knows? We'll see. But the hot candidate at this point are the moons out by Jupiter and Saturn and Enceladus and Europa. And I'm just finishing my annual JPL 30 greatest hits of technology book, and there's some incredible stuff in there about the instruments on a chip. It used to be something the size of a golf cart that you'd send out to do spectroscopy and mass spectroscopy and so forth. Now they're putting this stuff on chips, and they'll be able to land on these moons, scrape up a little bit of ice near those vents where stuff keeps spewing out. So you're getting a sample from the under ice ocean being delivered by nature up to the top. You scrape up that ice, look at it. It's like, oh, look, there's a critter. And there we go. We find life somewhere else, which would be very cool.
This is the same technology Apple wants to use in the watch to detect your blood sugar.
Blood glucose. Yep.
So, so the thesis then is that the Earth in its primordial state was a stew of organic chemicals, but that something an asteroid hit or something and injected something closer to some sort of proto-life form? Is that the idea?
That's one theory. Yeah.
Wow.
It came from outer space.
Wow. Very interesting. Or conversely, it could be that what was in outer space came from us. Yes?
Well, and I love talking about panspermia. Don't get the wrong idea. I love talking about this notion.
Again with the Crisco, I swear to God.
That life may have started on Mars, earlier because it settled down and was apparently temperate earlier than Earth, at least in some theory sets. And that something hitched a ride on a meteorite, came to Earth and seeded here at the right time and just exploded into this incredible diversity of life we have here. In which case we would find cool fossils once we get up to Mars. Or it could have gone the other way. It could have formed on Earth first, gotten knocked off by some kind of impact. I mean, it has to be a pretty good-sized impact to hit escape velocity on Earth. Mars is a little easier because it's smaller and has a lighter gravitational field. But you knock something off of one planet, travels the other, and, that's a really interesting theory. No proof one way or the other, though.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So we got how many SpaceX launches in the next couple of days?
Oh, God, I don't even keep track anymore. But what did they hit last year? I think they hit 62.
It's amazing. I think there's 2 or 3 in the next couple of days.
And there's 3 in the next. There's an article coming out in the next Ad Astra in a couple of weeks. As a guy wrote an op-ed about regulation. He's saying, SpaceX has flown 200 times without a meaningful accident or incident. These things are incredibly reliable. They're flying themselves back. And yet we still have these rules of when you can fly and how you can fly and how you have to blow up the rocket if it does something naughty that were written in the 60s. And he's calling for the Air Force, Space Force to take another look at these things and lighten up a bit because, as you know, if you're waiting for a launch and some pleasure boat drifts into the corner of the prescribed box out next to Kennedy Space Center, Vandenberg, they have to put everything on hold and it's millions of dollars because some dummy was paddling his kayak out there. So they're trying to, he's asking for a look at that stuff again to try and just smooth the road so that they can launch more often, more effectively, and for less money. Because the name of the game is how cheap can you get stuff up there? And when you get the costs of launch down, then everything happens. Then you get people to the moon. Then you start building that moon base. Then we have an angry stare down with the Chinese on the lunar South Pole over the water resources down there and split it up and off we go. We're building rocket fuel and going everywhere.
Well, we live in interesting times, I must say.
We certainly do.
Yeah, and it's good. I mean, I think this is really good. I think we're fortunate to be at the beginning of a new space age. Rod Pyle is our chronicler of the new space age. And I know I can't play Elton John for you, but I think I can play
It Belongs to Us All.
Because it belongs to us all. I salute you.
Now, this isn't the official one.
Oh, this is not. Stop it.
No.
Go away. I want the official one.
No, but this is better. The
It's
official
so much
one
better.
Great, yeah.
The official one's wimpy. No, this is the Darth Vader version. So some group of kids at a university wrote and performed that, and it's brilliant. And it's like Space Force is coming for you, right? And not in a good way. The real one sounds like something Sousa would have done if he was on drugs, and it's pretty lame.
On shrooms that you scrape out of the engine.
Well, and it has lyrics, which I really quite enjoy. I think that's part of the
I do
fun
like
of
the
it.
lyrics. That is fun.
We go above, we go beyond, we're going to kick your hind.
No, that's
Wait,
the
that's
other
the
one
same
again.
thing.
That's the good one.
That's the good one. All right, never mind. I probably can't play that one. That's the irony of it. I can play.
Well, can you hum Rocket Man? I'll take that.
No. I don't know. Can I?
Oh, I have a question.
I don't think they're going to put us down for that. What?
What's your
I
question?
almost forgot. Your fireplace back there.
It's.
I want to put one on my boat.
You
Which
could
one
put this
is
on a
that?
boat. It's legal. Which
Yeah.
one is it? I don't know which one it is.
Oh, okay.
It's the Calistoga 3590.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Let me look behind here.
Sorry, I didn't mean to upset the broadcast, but I'm just curious.
It's the F18V66L electric fireplace.
It was worth it just for that view of you, Leo.
Oh, it looks like it needs a firmware update, actually. We should get on that.
No, I think he needs a footwear update.
What's wrong with
Thank you.
footwear?
Nothing wrong with your footwear. You are as dapper
Just had to
as
make
ever.
the joke, though. So
Yeah, I just had to take the shot.
And just
Now,
for that,
neither-
I'm playing this. Wait a minute. This is not it either.
I think this.
Well, there's all these fake Space Force themes on
Well,
here.
because people had better ideas than the guy who did it. It's that one again.
I love that.
Stop it. I want
But you could really picture like Viper fighters and laser beams firing at that one, right?
Semper
But the lyrics
Supra,
were-
which means what? Always on top? That seems like a wishful thinking. I'm just saying.
Oh, there's another Crisco joke.
All right, we're gonna get rid of you now. Thank you, Rod.
Hey,
what?
If either of you are down in Southern California next weekend, by
Yes.
any chance,
Yes.
Alien Con is at the Pasadena Convention Center, and I'll be there.
Alien
informing
Con?
the masses. I kid you not.
That sounds
This
like
is
fun. Is it talking
A&E
about
Television
UFOs?
puts it on. It's
Yeah.
everything.
Oh,
and
nice.
it's like, I don't know, 8,000 people or something. It's one of the biggest things of its kind. So
Rod
that's going to
Pyle,
be interesting.
editor-in-chief at Astro Magazine.
Here it is. This is the right one.
Space.org. He is the mighty watchful eye, a guardian beyond the blue.
Supra is higher, always higher.
Always on top. I like that.
Oh, God.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you.
Rod Pyle, ladies
to see
and
you.
gentlemen. Did you get the number? Do you want that number again?
I'll hit replay.
All right. That was fun talking to Rod.
Yeah.
Playing that crappy music. I think there's a new thing that we're going to have to do every episode, which is check in with our trucker because he's driving. Eric is. Can I bring up his video without making him talk to us, or do I have to bring him in?
Oh, yeah. Can we just full screen his video?
I think this should be a regular feature on the show.
Where's
Eric driving now? And he's got a new backdrop in his big rig, which I like.
Maybe
quite
if
a bit.
you, Leo, pin him temporarily.
Should I pin
then they
him?
can shoot to the video of the ThinkPad, and then we'll be able to see full screen.
That's one way to do it. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you. Eric is driving. Hi, Eric.
And that's Eric behind him as well.
And is that Eric behind him too? Nice. That's me and Eric in the studio.
Pre-beard. Eric.
Pre-beard. Yeah. I love it. All right, this is gonna be a regular feature, Eric. You now have to call every show, and we have to see where Eric is. That is awesome. Let's go to another. Oh, wait a minute. He was showing the outside. Show that again, Eric. Nope, that's me. That's Eric. That's all right.
Yeah,
that's all right. I don't want you to have an accident. He's driving a big rig. It scares me. It really scares me. Hey, I'm going to let Chris from Miami back in. What do you think? It's been a long time. Been a long time. Lonely, lonely, lonely. How many cups of coffee has Chris from Miami had today?
Oh.
Do you think?
10.
10?
8.
Ant says 4 cups in. I'm going to say 6 cups.
I don't know how many he drinks each time.
How many?
I can't.
Put your shirt on, dude. This is not.
My shirt is on.
Are you trying to get us pulled from Google?
Oh my God!
soon,
Hang on.
How many cups in? How many cups in?
No. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
great.
I can tell by the motion of your hand. It's at
Give
least
me one.
6.
Give me one. No, I'm wearing a tank top because it's like 95 degrees down here today. But
He's
give me
in
1
beautiful
second, and I'll go
downtown
get a
Miami.
regular shirt.
No, I'm
Yeah,
teasing
you're
you.
fine. We're just
I'm
Tank
good.
top is fine. Stay here. Don't go away. Stay here.
I'm not one of those people. You know what? I get really crazy because I remember during COVID where people were basically doing a lot of weird things with Zoom. And I'm like not one of those people.
No.
You know, and so if I'm wearing a tank top and I'm not wearing a regular shirt, I feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I like to go pro on about 95% about
You
everything.
look fine.
So.
You don't look it. No one needs to wear a necktie to
Right.
be on Ask the Tech Guys.
Amen.
Well, I've
Neither of us are.
got way too many ties from the days of working in men's clothing.
Did you-
So I
did you
think I'm
work
going to
at-
start getting rid of them.
So I'm going to call you
Yeah.
from now on, not Coffee Chris, but Haberdasher Chris.
Hey!
Hey, how many cups in?
So
How many cups in? We've got bets
Well,
going.
We got, okay. Okay, so I'm in about 4 cups easy.
Oh,
4 cups easy.
Ant wins.
Yeah,
Ant
was
wins.
directly on.
Ant's a rock star. I mean,
He
literally,
is.
this guy's like a party animal,
He's
and
a
I
rock
absolutely
star.
have to respect that.
Ooh, look,
of
real
course,
quick.
Micah Sargent.
Here's the road. Wait a minute.
Doesn't-
Show the road real quick. We're going down the
Hey,
freeway.
there it is.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow.
Riding that big
That's
rig. I
awesome.
see snow. Is that snow? Wow.
Not in Miami, it's not. Probably in Los Angeles down there around KFI AM 640, the mothership.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had snow.
We had snow on the hills up behind us. It was wild. It looked like we were in the Sierra. What can we do for you, Chris?
Unbelievable. I'm not going to keep it long today because I want to see if I can get down to the Southeast Food Wine Festival thing, whatever it is, if I have time today.
Look for Salt Hank. He's there.
Well, he makes some of those chicken sandwiches, and I got to tell you,
he did Bloody Marys yesterday, and he did a Cubano sandwich with Guy Fieri yesterday.
Oh, my God. You're making me hungry.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Same thing, Mikey. I know.
We're talking about my son, who is a celebrity chef. I think I could say that now. Celebrity chef.
He is.
Jazz hands.
And he's got the best dad in the world, I'll tell you that.
He said that. He said, I told my manager I owe it all to my dad. And I said, Henry, you don't have to give me any credit anymore because you really did it. You really did it. And what's cool is he's surpassed everything I've done. He's got 2 million followers on TikTok, 1 million followers on Instagram. He's way beyond anything I ever achieved. And I thought maybe I'd be jealous or something. No, I'm thrilled. That's really awesome. Yeah. It means I can, hang up my hat and say, thank you, everybody. Have a great time.
Well, you're nothing to be shied at either. I mean, when you think about it, we're talking 19 years.
I know.
I don't know what happened there with the screen. I don't know what happened with the screen.
All of a sudden, We're seeing you. We're seeing you full screen.
You're seeing me, but I can't see anybody now, which is kind of a
Put
little
us
bit.
back in the screen.
There we go.
He likes to be in the. He likes to be in the bullseye.
I like to be in the gateway from Stargate. So I can go see the Egyptians in another galaxy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're on the RV66L 394.
Yeah, that's right.
I am. There's a little bit of a drag there, but it's probably this iPad Pro Apple products.
Chris, ask us a question.
I think, Chris, it's just that you move quicker than other people because of the caffeine.
Is on a different time zone.
It's possible.
Time scale.
I'm in Miami. Okay, so let me just say this real quick that Salt Hank is amazing, and I still want to get one of his chicken sandwiches. But you're nothing to really snap a whip at either, because you know what? You are 19 years in the tech industry, and I think it's funny because I do listen to Rich, but he said that he's replacing you on Saturday. And there's like a whole group of us that are like, okay, so you took over the Saturday slot indirectly. You're not working for Twit, and you can't replace Leo Laporte. So for the rest of us out here in the real world, can you stop saying that you replaced Leo Laporte?
Well, he's saying it so that people don't say, well, what happened? I mean,
I get that part.
He's got to say it. He won't say it much longer, I promise you. But he's got to say it for a little while. And the good news is he didn't do Sunday. I was pleased so that we could do Sunday. So really, we're tag teaming the weekends. So I think that's good.
No, and that's fine. But it's funny because Kim came by and
did you see Laura last week?
With Laura,
Professor
I know.
Laura.
I was just that was 3 cups easy right there, seeing Kim, and we're all coming back. You know what it is? Because we know that no matter who's out there replacing whatever, we're all here for you, boss. And you're just spectacular. You and Micah Sargent. And of course, I'm not, Rosemary Orchard. I'm not going to leave her out of the party, Micah. I'm just saying, because you won't ever.
From now on, you have to call her Rosemary Orchard.
Orchard. Yeah, you're right.
You got to call her that.
Rosemary Orchard. Okay, let me get to my question real quick.
Oh, yeah. Would you? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. First of all, I apologize for last week for being in there too much. I couldn't. I don't know what was going on.
You understand? Okay. We only want to probably pick up once a month on you because you're I want some new people. You're a strong cup of coffee, and we want other people too, which is nice. But I
like the Bombas.
I also love the regulars. We've got regulars. Woohoo! Yeah, this is my mom made these. These are not Bombas. These are. He's got the Bombas.
Okay,
I got my
We still haven't seen Mom anywhere.
Mombas.
I miss Mombas.
I told Mom. Come on, Mom. I said Chris in Miami wants you on the show. And she said they don't want me. I'm an old lady. I said that's exactly why they want you.
They want you.
We want to see you. Yeah. So I'm working on her. I'll get her. I'll wear it.
Okay. So front door. I live in a condo.
Yep.
And I got the basic, doorknob and lock system. But I want to get something that I can put a camera in there, like right there. But I also want
last week because you have. What do you have?
What do I use?
Oh, the doorbell cam. But I thought you were wanting a full security system. Isn't that what you were saying in the chat?
A full security system, with cameras in my house, I want to take the first step first because I've been traveling a little bit more, and I want to see who's coming and not approaching my door.
I love seeing the door. We had cameras everywhere, And I ended up not putting them back. We got the house painted, so I had to take them all down. And I didn't end up putting them back because I don't like being paranoid.
Yeah.
And nothing happened, and I
too.
felt like I'm always looking to see. And the front door is, I want to see that. That's been useful. But I don't really, for packages and stuff. I guess if you lived in an area, a high crime area, it would be nice to look down the side where the garbage cans are and, be able to see what's going on around your house. But I found it made me more paranoid. And I noticed my brother-in-law, who put up cameras too, he'll come over and visit. He's staring
Still
at the
looking
cameras
at,
the whole time.
I see that happen a lot. Yep.
And it's like, that just it's making you paranoid. In some ways, I feel the same way about sleep tracking. Like you do too much sleep tracking, pretty soon it impedes your sleep. Because
that's
you're
actually
so worried about the metrics.
Yes, that's a.
Yeah, I don't do sleep tracking. I fall face first. That's it. I'm out to cup of coffee in the morning.
Well, that's interesting. So when does the coffee wear off? What time does it wear off?
It does. It depends upon. Well, you know what it is. I've been doing more iced, cold brew coffee. Like when I went to Disney in November of last year, went to Geoffrey's Coffee. I got to tell you, I love my Sizzle Cafe coffee. It really is the world's best coffee.
With him because
but I'm not gonna expand. But I got to tell you,
down somewhere the road. Yes,
Geoffrey's Coffee. I went in. There was nobody in there, and I went in and I said, I desperately need a cold brew coffee. And I tell you, it was a large for like $5.95. You couldn't go wrong, and it had hints of vanilla with a nice citrus finish.
Oh.
I loved it. That was really, really nice to walk around Disney Springs and keep eating all those gummies. And so
next time I
don't go to Starbucks.
You're eating gummies and drinking coffee? Oh, the gummies tasted like coffee.
No gummies. So I got my cold brew coffee from Geoffrey's Coffee, and then I'm at Disney Springs. So I'm going around.
Gummies. Okay.
Yummies, not gummies. Yeah, that's extra sugar. And we can't be doing that. That's extra. So
by the way, Ann has, I hope you see this in the Discord, posted a picture of you when the coffee wears out late at night. Boom. Just like that. Boom. It's over. It's done. That's it. You're right there.
That is priceless, Aunt. That's why you're a rock star, buddy. Look at that.
He's good. He's got some strength with the
To go back to your question,
or when
though,
I've had too much twit.
I think that
I fall face first.
A peephole cam, which is what I have.
That's
for
what
my
you
front
have.
door.
That's what I was asking about.
Yeah.
Is it called peephole camera?
It goes in the hole where you look out and see who's at the house. That's a nice place to put it.
Yeah, because it has a pass through, so you can easily peephole through it just fine. Yeah, so the peephole's still there.
Okay.
Is it super wide angle though?
It is.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't like about the peephole cam that a lot of these more modern cameras do have is they go, oh, we don't want to 16:9 or 4:3 the video. We actually want it to be flipped on its head so that you can see down further because that's where you put your packages. So with this, you actually, you have to buy a special attachment that puts a mirror into it that kind of clips onto the front, and then it will look down. But then you also don't get to see out because of that. So I would recommend any modern doorbell camera over peephole camera because modern doorbell cameras are going to have the view out, and then some like Eufy, and I believe I know Eufy for sure, but there's another one that does it. They've got two cameras, one that is for looking out, and then one that is specifically made to see down in front of you so that it can see that the package is there. I have had two things happen at my place, and this isn't a high crime area normally, but somebody for some reason, and I was like, you know what, that's fine, you take it. I had like a water subscription. They took a whole 5-gallon jug of water off of my porch and walked off with it.
They stole your water?
They stole the water, and I thought, you know what, you probably really needed that.
Yeah, they were thirsty.
But then I actually did have recently midday I'm just shocked at someone being this brave, package theft. And I never would have expected it happening midday.
The problem is you see it after the fact.
Yeah. So this.
Oh, look, poor Chris. I think he.
So
we've
sleepy.
lost Chris. He fell asleep. So face down.
Did we actually lose Chris?
The coffee. No, I hung up on it. The coffee wore off.
Well, there's your answer, though, Chris.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good answer. And is yours from
the
Ring?
one that I have is from Ring, yes.
Ring.
But see, Ring doesn't make a peephole camera anymore.
Oh.
They discontinued their peephole.
Oh.
So I believe Eufy makes peephole cameras still. But doorbell cameras, you can get them from anywhere, but I really recommend Google's.
Easier to install, though, than a doorbell camera, which you have to replace the doorbell
Yes.
and all that stuff. Just the peephole there, I think, is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear enough that you obviously you could see what was going on.
Yep.
And all that. Hey, this just in, by the way, from The Verge. Thank you to the chat room.
Yes.
We mentioned that 50 people were laid off yesterday at Twitter. It looks like almost the entire Twitter Blue team was laid off, including Esther Crawford, who ran Twitter Blue. So I don't know what's going on at Twitter. This comes from the Platformer, where they've done some really good coverage. Zoe Schiffer. Alex Heath of The Verge also confirmed that Crawford and most of the remaining product team were laid off. There is speculation that Elon's about to install a new regime at the company. Like, he wants all Elon's people in there. In a recent interview, he said, "I need to stabilize the organization and just make sure it's in a financially healthy place, that in that the product roadmap is clearly laid out. Before the end of the year would be a good time to find a replacement for himself." So maybe put in a new regime. She was the one, you may remember, Esther Crawford, who tweeted a picture of herself after Elon took over, sleeping on the floor.
Yeah. And also very much encouraging other teams to do much of the same, saying, be here as long as you can. I'm encouraging my team to do that. And so
Hashtag sleep where you work. But the good news is she can now sleep at home.
This is true.
Because she doesn't work there anymore. That was dedication, though.
And an update, by the way, thank you, Scooter X, in the chat. Ring has begun once again selling the peephole camera. So
nice.
It must have been popular enough that they thought, let's definitely bring that back.
I think that's a good product, to be honest.
Especially
I think that's
for
a really
renters.
Good way to go, yeah. How do I unpin, Eric?
3 dots.
Oh, there it is.
in the video.
Remove pin. Okay. Because all I see is Eric driving. Hey, everybody. Leo Laporte here. I am the founder and one of the hosts at the Twit Podcast Network. I want to talk to you a little bit about what we do here at Twit, because I think it's unique. And I think for anybody who is bringing a product or a service to a tech audience, you need to know about what we do here at Twit. We've built an amazing audience of engaged, intelligent, affluent listeners who listen to us and trust us when we recommend a product. Our mission statement as Twit is to build a highly engaged community of tech enthusiasts. Well, already your ears should be perking up at that, because highly engaged is good for you. Tech enthusiasts, if that's who you're looking for, this is the place. We do it by offering them the knowledge they need to understand and use technology in today's world. And I hear from our audience all the time, part of that knowledge comes from our advertisers. We are very careful. We pick advertisers with great products, great services, with integrity, and introduce them to our audience with authenticity and genuine enthusiasm. And that makes our host-read ads different from anything else you can buy. We are literally bringing you to the attention of our audience and giving you a big, fat endorsement. We like to create partnerships with trusted brands who are in it for the long run, long-term partners that want to grow with us. And we have so many great success stories. Tim Broom, who founded IT Pro TV in 2013, started advertising with us on day one, has been with us ever since. He said, quote, "We would not be where we are today without the Twit Network." I think the proof is in the pudding. Advertisers like IT Pro TV and Audible that have been with us for more than 10 years, they stick around because their ads work. And honestly, isn't that why you're buying advertising? You get a lot with Twit. We have a very full service attitude. We almost think of it as kind of artisanal advertising, boutique advertising. You'll get a full service continuity team. People who are on the phone with you, who are in touch with you, who support you with everything from copywriting to graphic design. So you are not alone in this. We embed our ads into the shows. They're not added later. They're part of the shows. In fact, often they're such a part of our shows that our other hosts will chime in on the ad saying, "Yeah, I love that." Or just the other day, one of our hosts said, "Man, I really got to buy that." That's an additional benefit to you because you're hearing people our audience trusts saying, "Yeah, that sounds great." We always over deliver on impressions, so you know you're going to get the impressions you expect. The ads are unique every time. We don't pre-record them and roll them in. We are genuinely doing those ads in the middle of the show. We'll give you great onboarding services. Ad tech with pod sites that's free for direct clients. Gives you a lot of reporting, gives you a great idea of how well your ads are working. You'll get courtesy commercials. You actually can take our ads and share them across social media and landing pages. That really extends the reach. There are other free goodies too, including mentions in our weekly newsletter that's sent to thousands of fans, engaged fans who really want to see this stuff. We give you bonus ads and social media promotion too. So if you want to be a long-term partner, introduce your product to a savvy, engaged tech audience. Visit twit.tv/advertise. Check out those testimonials. Mark McCrary was the CEO of Authentic. You probably know him, one of the biggest original podcast advertising companies. We've been with him for 16 years. Mark said the feedback from many advertisers over 16 years across a range of product categories, everything from razors to computers, is that if ads and podcasts are going to work for a brand, they're going to work on Twitch shows. I'm very proud of what we do because it's honest, it's got integrity, it's authentic, and it really is a great introduction to our audience of your brand. Our listeners are smart, they're engaged, they're tech savvy, they're dedicated to our network, and that's one of the reasons we only work with high integrity partners that we've personally and thoroughly vetted. I have absolute approval on everybody. If you've got a great product, I want to hear from you. Elevate your brand by reaching out today at advertise@twit.tv. Break out of the advertising norm. Grow your brand with host-read ads on twit.tv. Visit twit.tv/advertise for more details, or you can email us advertise@twit.tv if you're ready to launch your campaign now. I can't wait to see your product. So give us a ring. Richard has got his hand up. He is calling us from, well, let's find out, shall we? Let's bring Richard into the Stargate. The Stargate. Hello, Richard. The Star...
Still muted. Richard's still muted.
Muted, no video, nothing. I got nothing from Richard. There's the sound.
Leo, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Where are you calling from, Richard?
I'm from a small town in Tennessee called Huntington.
Nice. Is it beautiful there right now?
Overcast, about 55 degrees. Can't really complain.
Our caller from Winnipeg would take that for sure. What can we do? What can we do for
Absolutely.
you, Richard?
Okay, I'm volunteering at a local public school to help out their IT department, and I'm new to the industry myself.
Good for you. That's great.
That's awesome.
And we have a mix of about 60 Windows PCs, and it's a one-to-one Chromebook environment for the students.
Cool.
And I'm wanting to know, is there a way, probably through either Azure or one of Microsoft's or Microsoft 365, to run a company-wide Defender scan that I could schedule to happen every day at like 2 a.m. when nobody's there, and just get all the machines reported back to myself and my
I'm going to guess you don't have an enterprise. They don't have an enterprise license. They probably bought those machines, 1Z, 2Z.
No, it's education licenses.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, I wish Russell were here because Russell is our IT guy. He's really the expert in how to do this. My guess is you want to look at something called Windows Intune, which is an enterprise system that lets you control what apps are installed. I bet you there is an education Intune or something like it. If you've got the education license, that's the thing to do, to look at is what does the education license give you? And I wonder if it gives you a copy of, if it lets you do Intune. Bill in Michigan says Microsoft licensing should be an accredited course. Yeah, they have Intune for education. So that's what I will look into that. That's what I would look at. So this is really designed to not just do the scanning, but really do the whole setup and management, right? So that you can, for instance, deploy stuff. Now, the students have Chromebooks, not Windows stuff, right?
For the most part, our high schoolers do use Windows PCs for like one or two courses, but other than that, it's mainly Chromebook.
Okay. My guess is the Chromebooks probably don't need scanning. They're kind of by their nature secure. You might do a power wash every semester, but other than that, you probably don't have to do anything. So this is just for the Windows machines. You have, since you have, if they have a Windows for Education license, I think they probably already have Intune, but you should look into that. I think that's the tool I would say you would want for this particular application. I am not an expert, however, in Windows IT. Does anybody if anybody in the Discord or the chat room wants to chime in, I would welcome that. And I know, Micah, you're kind of a new Windows user, which is good. I mean,
there are some links that we're getting, but one of them talked about Microsoft Defender for business, not for education. So that one is probably not going to be usable.
Taylor is in our Discord. Taylor, we have our caller is using. He has 80 Windows machines in an education environment. They have a Windows for Education license and wants to do a daily virus scan using Defender or something like that. But I think you want more than just virus scanning. I think you want really management. And I was recommending Intune.
Correct.
Yeah, as that. But we'll keep an eye peeled. I'm no expert in this. If Russell were here, he would know all about it. What's the other? You've done a lot of Windows support. What's the other? There's another Windows thing that we use that gives us, I think it's for enterprise more than education, but gives us full control over what apps are installed and does all the security and stuff for us. Remember the name of that? I always forget it. We use it here, but this is not. We have an enterprise, not a education license. No yawning, Eric. You got to keep your eye on the road. I saw that yawn. I think Intune is going to be the one I'd look at.
Yeah, that's what it's from everything I'm reading. Intune is where you're going to want to look.
Yeah. Hey, I think it's great that you're doing this. It sounds like this is new to you, which is great. What a way to learn and support your local education and your local community. I think that's fantastic. I did that myself for a while for our high school.
Nice.
And we fortunately had an IT guy. I could just be advisory on that one. But we were one-to-one, and it was one-to-one Mac at the time. They had to change it to Windows when Macs got so expensive. It was kind of too bad. Hey, I appreciate the call, Richard. I hope that helps. Keep listening. If somebody comes up with something better, we will say it on the air. I think you said we had more than one video. Do we have another video we could throw in here? Let's try it out. See what we got.
Hi, Leo and Micah. This is Dan. My son is going to be traveling to Taiwan soon for a few months to study the Chinese language.
Ooh.
He has been getting conflicting information about how to deal with his mobile phone and get it to work properly there. I have in advance set up an international plan with Verizon, but we're not sure if that will work. People at the school also suggest getting a SIM card as soon as you arrive in the airport from Taiwan, or perhaps even purchasing a flip phone or a local cell phone. Do you have any suggestions on how we could resolve all these conflicting ideas so that he can get to work as soon as he arrives at his destination? Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for taking the time to
look
make
at the
that little
production
video.
values. We don't usually get that kind of production values. There used to be a great wiki. I'm looking to see if it's still around, called Prepaid with Data. That was a really useful site for people who were traveling, because it would have it would have every country, and then because it was a wiki,
everybody could contribute and say, I've actually been here. And
I don't know if this is it. Let me just go prepaidwithdata.com. I think that was it. Prepaidwithdata.com. Might be .org. This is the problem. Some of these sites, they come and they go. boy, it looks. This is a little. It wants me to add something to Firefox to do this. I don't think that's
not
right. So somebody has already kind of taken over. It looks like prepaid with data. We talked about this with our caller from last week who was coming to America. It's the same issue. If you take your phone and your Verizon plan, it's going to be expensive. Verizon does it day by day, and he's going to be there for 2 months. You said that's a lot of money. And the advantage of that is it'll just work. Your phone will work. He'll have the same phone number, but it's going to be expensive. If you buy in country a phone or a SIM and put that in your phone, now you're going to have a Taiwanese phone number. It'll be cheaper, a lot cheaper. In fact, a lot of times, for years, that's what we recommended people do is pick up a SIM when you get at the airport. There's little kiosks, pick up a SIM, put it in your phone, but you lose your local phone number. You now have to tell everybody.
Here's the phone number.
I'm at here. Plus 32 with 479-4441, and that's problematic. So I think, though, this has gotten really much easier now thanks to eSIMs, and that was our answer for Mark.
Absolutely.
Because he had a phone that supported eSIMs, and modern iPhones do, many Android phones do. These are electronic SIMs. The iPhone, for instance, allows you to have 8 different carriers. And so you keep your Verizon. You even can keep your Verizon phone number. BG Oz said, and I think this probably is true, if you turn on Wi-Fi calling, that Verizon number will work at the hotel, anywhere he has Wi-Fi, which nowadays, especially in Taiwan, is everywhere. But then he also gets for data, for mobile data, because that's what's expensive on Verizon. For local calls and mobile data, he can get a Taiwanese SIM, activate it locally, and have both. In fact, even in the iPhone settings or Android phone, if you use that settings, it'll say which one you want to use for calls, which ones you want to use for data. Our recommendation is use Wi-Fi calling with Verizon only. It's the most expensive plan, and if your Wi-Fi, I think it should be free. Telstra in Australia was free. I imagine Verizon will be the same. And then get a Taiwanese SIM, eSIM, and use that for data and local calls. I think that's going to be the best way to do this. Prepaid, it is at Fandom. Okay, that was the right site. So thank you to our IRC, who's very good, out of sync, found it. Prepaid, I don't know if this is the same site, but this is Taiwan. Prepaid with the data SIM card wiki. I think this is the same site. Maybe they moved somewhere. But this talks about all the different plans, what he'll be faced, who the 4G providers are. Chunghwa, Taiwan, Far East Tone, T-Star, and GT. There is an MVNO in the country. This is where you're going to get information from people who are either living there or who are visiting there. And that's going to be useful. It says SIM cards are easily available, but you have to have proper identification. To save time and avoid hassle, purchase your prepaid SIM prior to leaving the airport can be recommended. Many Wi-Fi options, which is great. Here's where to purchase them at the airports, where to purchase them in the city. It's one of the few countries in the world that offers real unlimited internet, which is not surprising. Taiwan is very sophisticated technologically. So this is prepaid data simcard.fandom.com. But if you look for prepaid data SIM card wiki, you should be able to find that. I think that's still the best advice.
Yep.
I don't think there's a better way. I used to carry around a puck that gave us international data. It was a big mistake. I bought a variety of different ways to do this. Your phone is your lifeline. Keep it working. Keep the Verizon account if you can. Get the international plan when you get there. Or, as Redacted said, just download the whole internet and you'll always have it. It'll always be there.
Yeah, I'll always have it with you.
I did thank our Club Twit members, but let me give a little pitch if you're not yet a Club Twit member. A lot of the answers we get come from the Club Twit Discord, but that's just one of many benefits. The big benefit is Ant Pruitt, our community manager. He helps put together a great program of events in the Discord for us. You get ad-free versions of all of our shows. You also get access to stuff we don't put out in public. Micah does Hands on Macintosh for the club. Mm-hmm. We also have a Hands on Windows show from Paul Thurrott. We launched This Week in Space in the club. And then as it grew in audience size, we were able to put it out in the public. And as it continues to grow, we're able to bootstrap it up. And this is because we are not financed by some big corporation somewhere. We don't have giant venture capital fund investments. It all comes out of my pocket. And I can't afford to pay for a show that doesn't make money. As we've seen ad revenues dwindle, and they are dramatically dwindling, we have had to turn to you, the audience, and ask for your help. $7 a month is all it costs. Go to Club Twit, or actually twit.tv/clubtwit is probably the best way to do it. Twit.tv/clubtwit. Sign up, $7 a month. You can pay for a whole year at once, $84. There's corporate memberships as well. You'll have a good feeling. You're saving the network. You're keeping it on the air, keeping all these lovely people employed, and you're getting, I think, some real value for dollar. The club is so much fun. I love the Discord. I love what we do in there, and it keeps this show and a lot of others on the air. I hate to beg. I'm not good at it. I'm really not, and I don't want to become like public broadcasting, where there's a pledge break every week. But we really, these days, we really need it, and it makes a big difference. So if you listen to the shows, and honestly, if you can't afford it, we'll always offer all the free content we do, and the chat room is free, and the forums are free, and the Mastodon's free. But if you can, $7 a month, it really makes a big difference. Thank you in advance. Twit.tv/clubtwit. I guess somebody said, couldn't you make it nonprofit and get grants? Well, we're certainly nonprofit. We're halfway there. I don't, and then I have to hire a grant writer.
That's also so scary.
Yeah,
people
are great.
Right?
We get lots of ideas. We love your suggestions. Our audience is wonderful. We get lots of ideas for how to. Somebody said you should be on Sirius XM and stuff, but honestly, the best thing for us, I think, for going forward, is being an ad-supported network. We love that. I think it makes it possible for everybody to watch for free everywhere in the world. That's great. We don't have 19 minutes of ads an hour like the radio show had to. So we really like that. But for some reason, and it's not just us, NPR just laid off 10% of its staff. They'd lost $300 million, mostly from declining ad revenue in podcasting. There's something going on. I don't know what it is, if people have decided podcasts aren't any good or they've moved on to YouTube influencers. But if you like what we do, and I really think what we do is great. Of course, I'm biased. But if you like what we do and you want to keep it going, it's not free for us. Up to now, ads have really helped us do this all this time. But I see a day, frankly, where we can't, because ad support is just dwindling. Twit.tv/clubtwit. That was pretty good begging.
I'm impressed. I felt it right here. It's stirred.
Feel it?
Yeah.
Hey, this is a fun show, and I thank you, Micah Sargent, for taking time out of your weekend to do Ask the Tech Guys.
Oh, well, thank you for taking time out of your weekend.
We love our callers. We love hearing from you. You can email us, askthetechguys@twit.tv. We are here every Sunday. We do it live, so if you want to call in live, you can. 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 11 to 1. Actually, we really start at 11:11.
11:11, yeah.
And we end at 1:30.
Yep.
Because we have to, Benito's got to have lunch. But if it weren't for that, so it's really, I should say, it's 11:11 to 1:30 every Sunday.
Uh-huh.
That would be, now here's
Now,
some
hold
math.
on, though.
Hold on. That's 2:11 to 4:30 every Sunday Eastern time. That is 1911 UTC. Pretty good.
Yes, but you and I have to keep telling ourselves that it starts at 11, so that way we do get here in time to start it at 11:11. That's right.
We'd like to start at 11. That's the plan. Someday we will. There's a lot. You know what?
There's a lot that happens.
This is
before
complicated.
show. Yep.
More complicated than any other show we do, I think, at this point. Thank you so much for being here. I don't know what we're going to do next week. I think I have ordered the new podcast mic of choice.
Oh, that's right. I'm excited for this.
I didn't know this, but Rode, which is well known as making podcast mics and so forth, their first mic was called the Rodent. And that's why they call themselves Rode.
Wow.
But they still make the NT. The NT1 is now in, I think it's 5th or 6th generation. And they've done something really interesting. It's a large coil dynamic mic, and now they've added 32-bit, which means you cannot overdrive it. You could physically overdrive the capsule, but you can't put too much sound into it. The conversion, the A to D conversion, can handle 32-bit. That's really interesting. So I ordered one. It says it's coming out February 27th, so I should have it for next week's show. What I'll do is I'll bring in a bunch of podcast mics, and we can do a little taste test.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having that conversation about what 32-bit means in terms of going up and down.
Yes, I will also bring in my 32-bit recorder from Zoom. They make it a new little portable recorder that's really cool.
Awesome.
So if you're interested in audio and podcasting, we've got that. I will also have, and I'm getting ready. We're taking a little vacation end of next month. Now somebody's saying, I can tell, I see it in your head. Hey, he's going on vacation. We're giving him $7 a month. I paid for this literally 3 years ago. This was a trip we had planned in 2020 that was canceled twice. And this is the third time we're trying this.
Trying to make it happen.
So this was paid for long ago. I have actually canceled all our expensive future trips because I want to tighten my belt as well. So believe me, we're not spending your money on cruises. But I am planning for this trip. And you'll be interested in this, Ant. DJI, which makes the a portable gimbal for cameras, their new one just came out. Is it the Osmo Mobile 6, I believe. And I've ordered that as well. So we'll do a little, this will be a good little portable thing doing it. And then what else? Mac OS.
Oh, Ant's joining Mac OS.
Ant is going to do a special. Oh, this is going to be painful. Ant has moved from Windows to Mac OS. You talked about this a little bit on Wednesday on This Week in Google. So you're going to do a little piece for us on your life?
No, I want to sit in the chair next to both of y'all
and just ask us a bunch of questions?
Have a bit of therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do some Ant therapy next week.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sit on the fire,
Not necessarily
Ant.
here. We'll figure it out.
Sorry, no, you know what? We'll get him a little pillow. He can sit on the floor.
A beanbag.
He'll still be taller than both of us.
A beanbag chair.
Yeah. What a beanbag. No, that'll be fun. So people moving from Windows to Mac?
I love that.
Ant has questions?
Yeah.
We got the Mac guy right here. We got lots of answers.
And it's super common. I hear that a lot. Hey, I've moved from Windows to Mac. Tell me everything I need to know. So it'll be good to hear which specific pain points you've had.
Yes. It's going to be fun. And, of course, we'll answer as many questions as we can. And we'll see how Eric is doing driving down the road. Pull it. All right, he did it. He did it for it. Hey, thanks, everybody, for joining us and Ask the Tech Guys. I'm Leo Laporte.
And I'm Micah Sargent.
We hope you have a wonderful week, and you'll come back here next Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, we should talk Linux. It's the operating system that runs the internet, a bunch of game consoles, cell phones, and maybe even the machine on your desk. You already knew all that. What you may not know is that Twit now has a show dedicated to it, the Untitled Linux Show. Whether you're a Linux pro, a burgeoning sysadmin, or just curious what the big deal is, you should join us on the Club Twit Discord every Saturday afternoon for news, analysis, and tips to sharpen your Linux skills. And then make sure you subscribe to the Club Twit exclusive Untitled Linux Show. Wait, you're not a Club Twit member yet? Well, go to twit.tv/clubtwit and sign up. Hope to see you there.